Alrighty, guys. You can't see me yet, but boom. Oh, didn't clear this out. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo and the Talking Jets with Tigo live stream. You're right. The wait continues. We're back at it again. Hanging out, chit-chatting. We might do some draft stuff later on, but at least today we've got some stuff to talk about that isn't just New York Jets stuff. If we're being honest, we've got some Jets signings. We've got some players being taken off the board. Free agency frenzy. All that stuff is happening. People are signing. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. Jets talk. Jack Talks Jets is in the house. Spencer, man, in the house. Got to get me a hat. Sure do. Stephen A. Hey, what's up? I'm getting tired of this crap, man. And people are talking about Cousins after he hauled us over the coals. I would go after Stafford before I go after Cousins. I would go after Cousins. Stafford's contract is unmovable. They can't trade him. They would take like $100 and something stupid $1 million dead cap hit, and he's still dealing with the back stuff. If Cousins becomes available, he is the best option in the sense of like a trade because he gets us to the playoffs. Explosive diarrhea in the house. I'm confident we got him based on the Brandon Marshall conversation. Me too. Frog saying bandwagon. Don't know who he's referring to. Monkey Man stand in the house. Harlan in the house. Hank G. Here we go again. Absolutely. Emo Nation. Absolutely. I was finally able to get the rights to a song, and I was like, oh, look at that. I actually listen to Bayside. I love Bayside. And so did that. Harrison Hagen in the house. Bro, the wait continues. I don't think the Jets got him. We'll see. We'll see, man. We'll have to know 100% tomorrow. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, it will be hard. Same. Chaos has COVID. I don't know if he has COVID, but I know he's not feeling well, so he canceled his stream tonight. Johnny Boy in the house. Finger Lake Jet in the house. Aurora. Fulham Jets. Tomorrow is the day, right? It could still be tonight. Remember, they're 3 hours behind. It's only 6 o'clock for him, right? There's still so much time. Sky Monkey, hello to you. Tomorrow is the deadline. It's got to be by noon, 100%. The only thing I'll say to that is if it doesn't happen by noon, like if you see reports that the Jets signed Randall Cobb and all of these different ex-Packers, Alan Lazard, and we trade for Mike Williams. What? What's his name? From the Bucks. I forget his name. Doesn't matter. You get the gist. If we trade and it's just like a bunch of different things, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe it's happening and they're just actually doing the thing where they wait till the 17th to announce it. But we'll see what happens. Mike Evans, that's what it is. I couldn't freaking think. My brain is mush. My brain is mush. Mike Evans, thank you, Finger Lake Jet, and everyone there. Even if they don't get Rodgers, they should get Lazard. I don't want Lazard if Rodgers isn't coming, if I'm being honest. Here's the thing. We have a good blocking wide receiver, right? The only reason we would get Lazard is if Corey Davis is a part of the trade, and if he's not a part of the trade, I don't know if the Jets cut him. That's the real conversation. He's on a really good deal. Sign Jamal Williams. I'm on board. Like, they're interchangeable in my mind. The one thing that Alan Lazard's got going for him, Harrison Hagen, is that he's healthy. That's the real thing. He plays more than 8 games a year. What's the latest on Rodgers? Since last night, nothing. Nothing. We saw that interview with Brandon Marshall, and that was it. We got nothing else. Nope, yeah. I just refreshed Twitter. There's nothing there. We're getting to a point to where I'm not getting concerned because in the end, no matter what happens, I'm going to believe in Joe Douglas. I'm going to believe in what he can do and all of that stuff, So I'm totally cool with all that. But that being said, it's one of those things where it's still concerning that we don't have anything. Yeah, we do have the liked tweet, but that's just, I don't see much about that liked tweet really swaying. I think we're all really, it's the same thing that I think the Jets did when it came to the Brandon Marshall interview, like Jets fans did. It's everyone like reaching and being like, "Oh my gosh!" It's one of those things. We'll see what happens though. You're not wrong. The interview with Marshall shows that Rodgers will probably be a Jet. Like, again, that's what I got from it. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, it is an interview, and he's talking about Brandon Marshall, and he's just jesting with a guy that he played against, and has a relatively close relationship with. You know what I mean? It's like this. Harrison Hagen is really like, it's like, at this point, it's kind of just satire. It's kind of just like, we're just waiting around. We're all waiting around. And if he sneezes the wrong way, we're all like, what did the sneeze mean? You know, it's... Remember last year, though, when there were tons of reports of Rodgers going to Denver, but I didn't see any of those reports as actually happening. I thought it was a lot of smoke. I always thought he was going to be a Packer because it didn't make sense for him to go to Denver. Denver wasn't in a position to win, in my opinion. And following Hackett to Denver, to that conference, to that, not conference, but yeah, to our conference, to that division, didn't make sense, not with Denver's team. And so I was always on the train of he was going to be a Packer because I thought your team was going to be better than the Broncos were. And I was ultimately right. Now, if you're talking about when the Packers should have moved on, it should have been last year. Because last year you would have gotten 2 firsts for Aaron Rodgers. Easy. Where this year you might not even get a first. Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend is in New York. Yep. Ron Burgundy reported from the Oscars. Aaron Rodgers will sign tomorrow. Love it. Might mean something. I don't think so. He also has an apartment in Manhattan. Like, I don't think that, like, those things happened before he was linked to the Jets. There was no meeting with Denver, that too. I don't think the conversations ever got past I don't think the conversations with Denver ever got past they called and they gauged interest and they were trying to figure out what was going to happen. You know? Yeah, I agree. This year is different because of Love's 5th-year option and the awkwardness. Yep. Unpopular opinion. AR is not an attention hog / diva. Listening to him talk to Marshall, he's very calm and chill. In my opinion, there's something else holding this up, probably salary cap stuff. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people want to give the guy who's different a bad rap, you know, instead of trying to This is the one thing I said. I don't think he was, in the beginning, as an outsider looking into the Packers, as someone who, like, the most amount of information that I got from the Packers was watching Tom Grossi, and I didn't really watch his Packers stuff. As someone looking from the outside looking in, I think he gets this really bad rap for the things that he does. And the more I keep listening to the interviews that he's talking, and I went back and watched a lot of the Pat McAfee stuff that he did and all of those things, I keep getting the sense of, like, dude's just like a really, like, chilled out kind of guy. And he doesn't like it. The real thing, his ego, and I think he says it in the interview perfectly, is, and everybody struggles with this. I do too. I have a really, really hard time of, like, correcting people. Like, growing up, I moved around quite a bit. So I always used to read up on things and learn as much as I could about every single topic so that I always had something to say about everything. And in that incessant need for knowledge, I became very knowledgeable on a lot of things. And a big part of how I would just interject into conversations was correcting people. It's like, well, actually, you're close. It's this. And it's a problem. But when you're a public figure and people are talking about you, like, you want to interject and correct people. And I think that's where he gets his rap from. Blade Runner. with the 199. Thank you for the super chat. Enjoying your channel, Tigo. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying you hanging out and being a part of the channel. But yeah, Rodgers tried not to say something about the Jets and smiled. Yep. See, I think OBJ is another one of those guys where, like, I think he got a bad rap. You know what I mean? I don't know. I might be wrong here, but the more I look back at it, like, that situation in New York with the Giants was toxic from the top down. From general manager to head coach, everything was toxic. And then when he leaves and he goes to the Browns, Baker's toxic, and you have all of those things going on. But then when he goes to a situation that's not toxic, it's full of really nice guys and all of that stuff in LA, we don't hear a peep, not a word. So I'm not saying I want OBJ, but I'm just saying I don't know if that narrative is true. Like, you know what I mean? He hurt his chances today with that tantrum. Did he throw a tantrum today? Did OBJ throw a tantrum? Is that a thing? Did I miss something? So when the Jets met with Rodgers, the Packers gave the green light, or how does this all work out? Or how did it all work out? So the way that I think it happened, Harrison, is the Jets called the Packers and said, "We want Aaron Rodgers." The Green Bay Packers said, "Really? Okay. You need to convince Aaron Rodgers to want to go to the Jets." And they were like, "Oh, really? Like, can we talk to him?" And then they were like, "Sure." And then they were like, "Okay, like, let us deal with Derek Carr for real quick, and then we're going to figure some stuff out." So they talked to Derek Carr. They really liked Derek Carr. They looked at their things, and then they said, Aaron Rodgers is still a better option than Derek Carr. Let's go all in on Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers want to move on from him. We would absolutely adore him and hand him the keys to the franchise. Let's go have that conversation. We inform Derek Carr that we're going to go the Aaron Rodgers route. So Derek Carr goes and signs with the New Orleans Saints that day. That same day, you get information that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, you get this at midnight, is that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are in conversation. They are talking over the phone, and that the Green Bay Packers have given the green light for the New York Jets to communicate with Aaron Rodgers. The very next morning, the contingency of New York Jets officials flies across the country to California to meet with him, wine and dine, and sell him on the franchise, and then they head home. And I think the best way to describe what's happening is that's where we're at. Now, what I think is actually holding up the situation is like the Jets trying to get the guys that Aaron wants. Aaron wants to be comfortable in whatever place he's going to go to. And I think ultimately what's holding this situation up is Aaron giving he says, okay, I'll go be a Jet, but you've got to do X, Y, and Z. And the Jets are trying to get X, Y, and Z done. So that's where I look at it and I go, maybe it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen until after Monday when we can start announcing all these contracts and all of these things happening. Like when maybe he looks at it and says, like, I want a center before I come over, or I want a center and a tackle before I come over, or like see if you can get Bakhtiari from the Green Bay Packers. And then they restructured him, and now it's like that's off the board. But you get what I'm saying? I think that's ultimately where we're at right now. Marshall asked where he was going to live in New York. Yep, did. I've never seen such a desperate team before. They should be careful with being too desperate. Well, like, the Bucs were this desperate when they were going after Tom Brady. You know? Miami was this desperate when they were going after Tom Brady. They lost their first. That's how desperate they were. When the free agent quarterback class isn't good, and the first option option 2 is already off the board, and you're in your Super Bowl window, you have to get desperate. That's the thing. It happens all the time. When Denver was going after Eli, they were super desperate. This isn't a new thing. When the Jets and the Vikings were going after Kirk Cousins, we were both desperate. When there isn't that many quarterbacks, you get desperate and you try to bring a guy in, especially when you think that that guy is going to fit in to your Super Bowl window and help elevate you to Super Bowl levels. Is Elijah going? Barney, I hope not. Give me Cobb or Lazard. Here's the thing. I think we could ultimately end up with both. That's if Corey Davis goes in the deal. Because remember, we already cut Braxton. There's your Randall Cobb replacement, right? Like Randall Cobb is going to replace Braxton. And if Corey Davis is a part of the trade or cut, Alan Lazard comes in. Moore going to go soon. Give us Cobb or Lazard with 12. I don't think Moore is going to be a part of the trade unless it's going to be Elijah Moore for Aaron Rodgers straight up. Because last year at the deadline, we were asking for a first-round pick for Elijah Moore. Like, do you remember that? Like, that was the report. They weren't going to give him up for anything less than a first. The Chiefs called, the Packers called, a bunch of teams called on Elijah Moore. And the report coming out of Florham Park was, okay, we'll part with Elijah Moore for a 1. If you're not going to give us a 1, we don't want to get rid of him. So, yeah. Are we allowed to tell free agents that Aaron is happening even if it isn't announced? No. We can say that Aaron is the number one. We can inform free agents on what's happening. I don't think that happens. I think you would inform agents of where things might be headed in the Aaron Rodgers conversation. That's the best way to look at it. That's the best way to say it. Because you can't lie to a free agent. Rodgers' girlfriend is the daughter of the Milwaukee Bucks owner, and she was born in New York, Wisconsin-New York connection. Yep. Good analysis, Tigo. I didn't even think of that. That Aaron wants the table set before he comes over for dinner. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, that's a great analogy. He doesn't want to have to come and help set the table. He wants to come and have dinner just put on the table, piping hot, steaming, ready to get everything going. It makes a ton of sense if you think about it that way. So when Marshall said, could he break the news, did he mean he had the news, or was he just going to ask Rodgers and break it during the video? I think it was that option. I think Brandon was asking Aaron if Aaron could tell him so that Brandon could break the news. Right? I think that's how it was going, because Brandon Marshall is an all-time great Jet. He was here for 2 years. It was the 2 best years of his career, and it's the single best year by a wide receiver, a New York Jet ever. So absolutely, like that's what he said. It's like, I'm an all-time Jet. Like, make it happen. And he's like, look at the number. He's absolutely true. Now, I know this is never going to happen, but how great would it be if Aaron came and Brandon Marshall came back? I would love to see B. Marsh back on the football field. He still looks freaking ripped. And like he could run a route. Like he could run a fade. We should move on from AR at noon tomorrow if this thing isn't done by then. Absolutely. I think we should move on way before that. Like we should move on at like 9 or 10 so that we have time to pivot, so that we can call the Vikings about Kirk Cousins, so that we can inform the agents of Jacoby Brissett and other guys so that we can have those conversations, because I don't think you can wait all the way up until what's the word I'm looking for? Right up until noon. Proactive is different than desperate. Yep. Elijah didn't get along with Mike LaFleur. I doubt he's going to... didn't gel with Mike LaFleur. I doubt he's going to get along with the other MLF. It's maybe like we don't know how their coaching styles are similar or dissimilar, right? Like we don't know that. So, yeah. Rodgers knows he's not retiring and where he's played. So he is not announcing because he wants to be spiteful towards the Packers. Question is, how is he screwing the Packers by not announcing? Well, the cap situation, that's really the whole thing. Like, if he doesn't announce, then the Packers can't fully commit to Love because there's still the option that he comes back. And so he's not going to retire because he's not going to give up $60 million and because he doesn't want to be in. And this isn't an ego thing because I don't think anybody wants to be the guest star at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame induction, right? And that's the way I look at it. B. Marsh is still better than Jeff Smith, probably. I'm a huge Rodgers fan. That's why I'm all in this. Absolutely, man. I don't see Rodgers retiring. I don't see that happening. Yep, me neither. Cousins, really? Yeah, he's the best option that's out there. Like, what's better? Okay. Aaron Rodgers doesn't pan out. Let's say that. For whatever reason it doesn't pan out, he goes back. The Packers are screwed. They're going to have to bench a Hall of Fame quarterback to probably play Jordan Love or trade away Jordan Love. They're going to figure something out, right? Now they're in a whole different mess. Where do you pivot? What's a better option? What's an option that's out there that can get you to a Super Bowl? Or, okay, let's not even say Super Bowl. What's an option that's out there that gets you to a playoff game? I want a real one that's better than Kirk Cousins. And go. New York Jets fan 4. What's up, dude? Well, guys, the deal is done already. It hasn't been announced yet because Rodgers doesn't want to be announced yet. He has events going on and doesn't want to overshadow those events with the media. Makes sense. Some reports said Aaron Rodgers, no trade talks. I didn't see that, and I have an Aaron Rodgers watch on Twitter. Here's a thought. Aaron wants the table set, but the other pieces want to know who the QB is going to be. It's a catch-22, so maybe they need Monday to be able to say the center X if you sign, Aaron signs. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, Malone, I want you to go back, and I want you to try again. Okay? You did not just say Mike White. He's played 8 games, and he's been hurt in 6 of them. And he was unable to win the last 6 games. All right? So I'm going to give you another chance. Try again, because this isn't a real option. Jets should go after Lamar Jackson. Absolutely not. Rodgers will pan out. I hope so. It's so awkward for the Packers because if this trade doesn't happen, they got to move Love and quick or play both QBs. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, you have to bench one of them. And if you've been coming out publicly and committing to Love, like, Love is the future of that team. Because if not, you need to know. You need to know because next year you guys got to draft a quarterback. If not, that's interesting. Didn't Rodgers say 1 year in the Marshall interview? He did, but here's the thing. I don't think he's going to only play for 1 year. Remember, he's due $100 million over the next 2 years. And I think he's got a lot more in the tank. I think let's say you come to the Jets and you go to an AFC championship game or you go to a divisional round and you lose in like heartbreak fashion in a field goal. You don't want to run that back one more time, get paid $40 million, run it back with a team that's going to get better and you go forward. Lamar, no, not an option. Jimmy G gets you to the playoffs. Jimmy G gets you to the playoffs if he's healthy. That's the real thing. The problem with Jimmy G is the health. Because here's what you would have to be ready with Jimmy G, Barney Miller. You'd have to be ready for, like 10 games of Zach Wilson when Jimmy G eventually gets hurt. That's the thing. I say and have from the start that he's going to retire. Not with Tom Brady retiring. It's not an option. I don't think it's an option for him. The money situation. He's on the last year of his contract. Kirk Cousins is. And if Kirk says he's not going to re-sign, it makes sense for Minnesota to move on from him because he's on the last year of his deal. And that's the whole situation. So he can bet on himself and try to get a crap ton of money, or Minnesota can trade him. That's the conversation. It's kind of like why Dak might get traded. It's not that Dak is going to get traded, but because Dak is on the second to last year of his deal, he can hold the Dallas Cowboys over the fires and ask for like $60 million, and they won't have another option. So they might trade him to get assets when he's at his most valuable. Jimmy G is a better option than Kirk Cousins. It's not even close. Okay, it's 17 games of Kirk Cousins or 10 games of Jimmy G. Jimmy hasn't finished a season at all. And that's a massive risk that you're taking. Like, that's my thing. Why not Lamar? Well, because there's no situation in which Lamar works out for the New York Jets. Like, the thing that people need to really and truly understand is that Lamar isn't available. Any offer that any reasonable team is going to give to Lamar is going to be matched by the Ravens. That's it. So why even engage in the conversation? Lamar doesn't have an agent. So talking to him, like going through that process is going to be like walking through molasses. It's going to be hard. It's going to be insufferable. It's going to be absolutely abysmal because like Lamar Jackson has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to contract situations. He has no idea about how it works in the NFL at all. So the going after Lamar isn't an option because any deal that you might work out with him is going to get matched by the Ravens. So there you go. That's why it's not enough. You believe Cousins is the answer? I think Cousins is a better option than all of the other available free agents. I don't like like I just said about all the things with Lamar. Lamar's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be a Baltimore Raven. Then you look at Jimmy G. The health thing absolutely terrifies me. And then Kyle Shanahan going to the playoffs with Brock Purdy makes me absolutely terrified that Jimmy G was a product of the system and not actually a good quarterback. So then I go, like, if those two guys are out, which I understand why you would have them ranked above Kirk Cousins, now we're talking about Jacoby Brissett, like, as the guy. Like, that's the other best option. So is Kirk Cousins better than Jacoby Brissett? Because that's really what would happen. Ryan Ward, I see your comment. I'm not going to highlight it yet because I'm not there yet. Matthew Stafford's contract is untradeable. And he's dealing with the back and the neck and the shoulder. Like, it's one of these things, right? That's the whole situation. Tigo, why go after a QB with an injury history? Lamar Jackson, Jimmy G, and Mike White are all off the table. Exactly. That's my point. I don't want to go after a quarterback with an injury history. That's why I put those guys off the table. And because, like I said, I don't think Lamar is actually going to be signing anywhere else. What happens tomorrow if the NFL exactly, were the Jets not allowed to talk to anyone else till tomorrow? If so, then my dinner catch-22 makes sense. I'm not sure. Thoughts? No, it makes absolute sense. Tomorrow, they're allowed to finally talk to agents about signing teams, and that's how that works. Until then, they can't have any conversations with players or their agents outside of informing agents, hey, we want to talk to you on Monday. And that's it. Like, okay, like, does Minnesota have as good of a defense as we do? That's the real question. Like, you got to stop, like, comparing, like, yes, Kirk Cousins lost some games, but if Kirk Cousins was on the Jets, we'd probably make it to a divisional round last year. Like, real, like, that's real. We probably beat the Bills twice. We probably beat Miami twice. We probably beat New England twice. Like, we're in the playoffs last year if Kirk Cousins was under center. You got to get that. Because Kirk Cousins last year was better than any of the quarterbacks on our roster. So I'm not, like, saying that Kirk Cousins is this Aaron Rodgers equivalent. No, he's not. He's very clearly a step down. But is Cousins better than Jacoby Brissett? I think so. Does he have as many health questions as Jimmy G? No. And so that's why I think it's an option. Do I think it's a realistic option? No. I think Minnesota has given up a lot of assets to really try to make Kirk Cousins work. And so there you go. T.A. Rugg, give me Jimmy G all day. What's Cousins' record in the playoffs? Like, again, it's the injuries that scare me, man. Every year it's something new. But let's be honest, the Jets have more leverage. I agree. I think so. 1 year would have me nervous. I think we get him for at least 2. What's up? The fire of Xanatos up. Nothing on Rodgers yet? Nope. Let's try to catch up. Best case scenario, Rodgers comes here, Brady unretires to play for someone this season, and Aaron is forced to play another season for the Jets next year. I think Aaron plays 2 years no matter what, but this would be a really, really funny situation. Where would he go, though, Johnny? Let's ask this question. I can do polls now. I'm going to start a poll. I'm going to do it for like 5 minutes. Start listing teams. Where do you think Tom Brady would go? '49ers. I was going to put that one. Vegas. I don't know how this works. Dolphins can't do it. Baltimore, that's interesting. Oh, wow. Back to the Patriots? Getting a lot of Niners, Raiders. I can't do the poll. I'm sorry. I've messed this up. I don't know how this thing works. I got to figure it out. Let's keep going. Should we expect a deal tonight, Cody Dog? I don't think so. Mac and Zagan, Holy Cross, absolutely. I think tomorrow, if anything. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting. Can't imagine we won't have some clarity. 100%. Has to happen by tomorrow. Jets take. I think it will get announced tomorrow. This could be Rodgers giving the middle finger to all the insiders. That is true. Is there any shot this still happens tonight? Well, if there wasn't, I wouldn't be streaming. Remember, he is 3 hours behind us, so he could tweet. He could text somebody and be like, okay, you can break this. So that is an option. Dom C in the house, not necessarily Tigo. Lamar could sign the tag and then get traded. That option is very much on the table. It just won't happen before free agency starts. Here's the thing, Dom. This is predicated on the situation that the Baltimore Ravens want to trade Lamar. From everything that they've said, I think they want to keep Lamar. And so I think no matter what, whether he's playing on the tag or signs an offer sheet with another team, he ends up in Baltimore. And like I said yesterday in my live stream yesterday, the only situation in which he's not a New York Jet, in my opinion, is not a Baltimore Raven, in my opinion, is if the Commanders give a fully guaranteed contract. Tomorrow morning is going to feel like Christmas. I hope so. I'm guessing the consensus is that we trade for Aaron Rodgers tomorrow or it's time to move on. 100%. Andrew Yako's great channel. Aaron is a bit off-putting. AR should be ecstatic to join the Jets and say it. Here's the thing, right? I get what you're saying, Andrew, and I agree with you, but we have to remember that he has spent his entire career in Green Bay. It's 18 years and 15 of those playing to being in one place. And moving is a big deal. It is. I remember when I had to move, like with the Navy and all of that stuff. Like, it's a big deal. You leave your family, you leave everything that you're comfortable with, you leave home to go somewhere scary and unfamiliar and all of those things. And yes, you know that when you get there, you're going to make new brothers and you're going to eventually get acclimated, but it's still a scary step. It doesn't matter what you're doing it in, right? Like, yeah. JD needs to know before noon tomorrow. Probably already knows. I hope so. Think about this, though. Does Rodgers really want to face the Dolphins and the Bills? Well, the Dolphins are getting scary, but I think Aaron Rodgers is better. Here's the thing, right? Yes. Because the New York Jets team with Aaron Rodgers is better than both the Dolphins and the the Bills. The Bills' Super Bowl window closed, right? They're about to lose a bunch of guys on defense. They lost. Jets Take, thank you for hitting the subscribe button. If you want to see the dancing dinosaur and your subscriptions are public, hit the subscribe button. So that's a part of the conversation of what's happening there, right? And like the Bills are losing their defensive coordinator. They're about to lose Jordan Poyer. They're about to lose Tremaine Edmonds. They don't have they have one cornerback, so they still need another cornerback. They're really, really tied down in the salary cap when it comes to money that they can really spend because of the Von Miller contract. That offensive line is still kind of in shambles and still needs to be fixed, and they still don't have a run game. That entire team last year was built off of the fact of maybe that run game, maybe that offensive line can hold up long enough to let Josh Allen get the ball to Stephon Diggs, and this defense is really going to stop teams. Well, the defense got hurt and fell apart, and the offense couldn't get it done. We saw Josh Allen 3 times a game throw the wrong jersey, trying to as if he had an interception quota. And then as long as Tua is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, they're going to be a mid-team. And that's the truth. Yeah, we put 40 on that Miami defense. I don't think adding Jalen Ramsey is going to change anything because you know who our wide receivers have to go against every single day in practice? Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, who are both better than Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. They're both better than both of those guys. So I'm not that worried. I guess next week for tight ends, Dom, you know what? Let's get some Dom C up in here. Guys, give me a second. Give me 2 seconds. You know what? Boom, 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 boom. Dom, if you want to hop on, I just sent you a link. Oh crap, we gotta go down here. I just sent you a link, Dom. If you want to hop on, we can talk some draft stuff. I'm cool. Red John in the house. I don't want Kirk Cousins after the stunt he pulled on us last time. See, I get that feeling too. I'm cool with that. Tom Brady next team, the Jets. Lol. I really don't want it. I think Tom Brady is unretiring. I think it might happen too. I'm not trying to be mean, but he's an 80 overall in my book. Who are we talking about? Ramsey? Let me see. Jalen Ramsey is a joke. Oh, you're talking about Ramsey? I think Ramsey is a much better player than a lot of people give credit for, in my opinion. But I don't think he's a top 10 cornerback anymore. I'd be hard pressed to even say that he might be a top 15 cornerback anymore. So I'm with you. I think in 80, that's really, really good. Green Bay is moving on from Rodgers. They already drafted his replacement a few years ago. They did not draft a wide receiver for Rodgers to throw to. That too. Yeah, okay, cool. Man, what is going on with the Rodgers thing? I have no idea. Dom C coming in the house in 5 minutes. This will be exciting, guys. This will be fun. I'm only saying that watch Devontae burn him. Yeah. Again, Mike Evans owns him. Lamar to the Colts. Nah, the Colts are in a perfect position to draft somebody. It'd be much cheaper, much younger. Give these young boys the respect they deserve. Absolutely. Ramsey's lost a step. I agree. Brady can unretire, but he's done. Father Time is undefeated. You're not wrong. We will all know by Monday. Yep. Ramsey is still top 10. Come on now. Sauce, Slay, Alexander. Name 6 other better than Ramsey right now. All right. Give me a second to pull up a list of corners, and I'll literally give you a list of top 10 cornerbacks that are better than Jalen Ramsey. Defensive cover. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, Jair Alexander. That's for sure. DJ Reed, Darius Slay, That's 5. That's 5. Stephon Gilmore, I'm still putting above him right now. Even at his age, he played a lot better. I like me some Asante Samuel Jr. Did I not say Bradbury? Did I say Bradbury or not? Is he part of the list? Because I'm at 8. Yes? No? I'm not going to put Tariq Woolen there, not yet. Lattimore. How did I forget Lattimore? Lattimore's on that list for sure. Okay, so maybe he's 10. Maybe he's 10. I'll give you that. Fair enough. We happy with that? He's 10. Ramsey's lost a step, man. Did you see how he looked last year? He looked abysmal last year. Now, I'm not saying that, like, he's bad. I'm just saying, like, there are better cornerbacks out there. And I don't even think he's the best corner on his team in Miami. Like, I think Xavier Howard is a better corner. Like, they put him on an island in Miami by himself, and he kind of held his own. Like, so, like, again, I'm not saying that it's bad, but, like, that they're bad. I'm just saying that they're not, like, it's not this super scary duo that's going to change how everything functions and all of that stuff. Sauce, Lattimore. Yeah. I like the Marlon Humphrey. Jair Alexander, I said him. Okay. Like, I agree that he shouldn't have been a Pro Bowler, and they are both coming off of disappointing seasons, but they are also both coming from systems where they were asked to be put on an island. You know what I mean? They were told, you got to cover this guy by yourself alone, and with the way that the rules are set up, it's very hard to do that. They got no help. But yeah. Sorry for causing Ramsey drama. Dude, I would have started Ramsey drama on my own. We were going to get there eventually, and I would have said something stupid. His season highlight was a Super Bowl commercial with Sauce put in that way. I love it. Yeah. I like me some Christian Gonzalez. I'm excited to see what he becomes, what he looks like in the pros. Like, again, I'm not sitting here trying to say 100%. He did rob DJ Reed of his Pro Bowl spot. 100%. I'm on that. Breaking news. Jets fans are still stressed out. Absolutely. 100%. That is a truth fact. That is the reality of the situation. Oh. So what are the Jets going to do at QB if they don't get Rodgers? Realistically, Jacoby Brissett. Get ready for that. Get ready for that one, guys. It's probably a realistic option. Yeah. Kind of sucks. When do you think we get Rodgers? Hopefully tonight, but more realistically, probably tomorrow around 10 or 11 o'clock. That's probably when we get the announcements. Tomorrow about 10 or 11. Oh, I didn't even see this. Jets chaos in the house. How do I get Nightbot? Just go to nightbot.com. Is that easy? Easy breezy. I hope Rodgers doesn't break Jets fans' hearts. I hope so too. Make a desperate trade probably for Kyler Murray, which sucks. Nah, they can't move on from Kyler this year. The year to move on from Kyler is going to have to be next year, in my opinion. You have to sell the number 3 pick when you still have a shot and see if you can maybe salvage Kyler Murray. Because remember, Kyler Murray has an ACL tear. He's probably not going to play this year. So you're not going to get anywhere near as much of what you're going to get if you trade for him, if you trade him away this year. So you're going to have to trade him next year. And that's when you would get probably the best haul, because any team trading for Kyler Murray knows that you're not going to get him for at least a year. So, next year. Expect Miami to be all in on Kyler Murray next year. Case Keenum. I'm not a Case Keenum guy. Jacoby Brissett is our QB. It might be the straw that broke the camel's back. Yep. Jeremy said that he was sick. He's going to bed. Was wiped out. Did you get the Rona? Is that what happened? I hope you're feeling better, or I hope you feel better. If Rodgers doesn't come to the Jets, he won't get a table at any New York area restaurant. His girlfriend will have to move or dump him. 100%. Dang, Jeremy, that sucks. Well, drink lots of fluids. Get better. This is insane. What is Aaron Rodgers waiting on? I don't know. There is something to be said that he's doing a bunch of charity events he's been doing a bunch of charity events over the last couple of days, and he's wanted all of the media attention to be on the charity events, because if they don't know where he's going to be, like where he's going to, like that is national media, so they're going to send paparazzi and all this stuff to wherever he is to try to get an answer, and it is ultimately going to drive more attention to whatever it is that they're doing. So that. Give the Jags the next 7 first-rounders and 4 years of second-rounders picks for Trevor Lawrence. Nah, I'm good. He's not worth that much. If I'm going to go that high, like go crazy and give like the next 15 first-rounders for Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert. Rodgers is loving the attention. I don't know. He doesn't seem like... I don't think he's coming off as much of like an attention whore. But maybe. How would Rodgers even go back to Green Bay at this point? That's the thing that keeps getting me. That's the thing that keeps getting me. What do you see us doing at 13 if none of the top 3 offensive tackles are there at 13? Trading back, ultimately. We're going to have a much better picture of what we're going to do in the next 3 days. I think we're going to have a much better picture and situation of what's going to happen over the next 3 days, because like if we go out and sign a wide receiver, then wide receiver's off the table. If we go out and sign a center and an offensive tackle, well then offensive line's off the table. But like what happens if we cut, like again, it's not really an option, but like what happens if we cut JFM and Carl Lawson? Well, now edge rusher becomes a need, you know what I mean? Or what happens if we don't sign a defensive tackle? Like we extend Quinnen and we bring back Nathan Shepard and that's it. Well, now defensive tackle becomes a big need. So like we'll have a better sense of what the options are going to be in the next like couple of days. But I think as of right now, the option at 13, and I'm going to stand by this, I think this is going to be the option on draft day 2, is trading back out of 13. I think that's going to make the most sense. As much as I hate him, the one realistic QB we might be able to trade for at its worst comes to worst, is Dak. I made a video on this, Rob V. Now, I'm not the biggest Dak guy, but like that is a quarterback that you would have control over for the next 2 years because he's under contract for the next 2 years. And you probably don't have to trade. Like, does a third get him? Does a second get him? Like, that's it. Couldn't the news technically drop last minute Wednesday? Harrison, technically the news could drop 2 months from now, right? The real thing is because of the legal tampering period starting tomorrow at noon, the New York Jets are going to want to have conversations with their free agents about who's going to be under center, because that's going to be the number one question that free agents are going to ask. The XFL doesn't necessarily suck, really. No, I like some of the rules that they're doing and some of the things that they're doing. It's great. I hope we get Jamal Williams so bad. That dude's a good dude. 100%. This is by far maybe one of the best names ever, Moist Cloud. I love it. Oh, and the other thing to go on with this point, Moist Cloud, is that Jamal Williams' market value is somewhere around the $4 million range. That would mean that our running back room of all of the guys that we have would be under like $7 million. That's less than Saquon Barkley money. Saquon Barkley by himself is making 10. We would have 4 guys under 7. It's insane. The Packers owner did say that Aaron Rodgers had a great time in Green Bay, past tense, as if he's already gone. 100%. That did happen. I agree with trading back. Cool. He's a season removed from an MVP. He has a massive checks due for him. No way he's retiring. 100%. Aaron mentioned a timeline. Trust me, if the Packers or Jets gave him a timeline, he will push it to the end and beyond. And Dom C is in the house. Ready for some Dom C, guys? Boom. What's going on, Dom?
Yo, Tigo, what's up, dude?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Let me share with you. Fantastic. You should be able to see the stream and all the chat. I finally figured out how this thing works, making it a lot better for you as the guest and for the viewer. Welcome on. You getting
Thanks,
as
brother.
frustrated as I am with this whole?
No, I'm not frustrated in the least, to be honest with you. I didn't expect anything before tomorrow morning,
Really?
and it's too eerily quiet to. The Jets keeps things so locked up. That's how JD works. If there was a sense of this not working out, I think there'd be. I think somebody would be out saying it, but everybody, every which way you look, says, no, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. I don't know why they're waiting until, but I'm not concerned. You know, I don't agree with you. I'll say that flat out. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is the answer if it does go south with Aaron Rodgers.
Where else can we pivot realistically?
Not Jacoby Brissett. I understand the love for him and functionality. He's that bridge quarterback that would work. However, I listen. I'm telling you, I don't think it's out of the realm. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I don't think it's out of the realm that you entertain what it's going to take to get Lamar in here.
I just don't see the Ravens letting him go. The Ravens played because, here's the thing. Why would the Jets be the only team then to be all in on Lamar? Moist Cloud, thank you for hitting the subscribe button.
Yeah, I can't see the stream, by the way. I'm not that it's a big deal, but
no,
I see a blank black, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, but just letting you know.
See it now? No?
Negative.
No? Okay.
It's all good.
Alrighty.
I can stream it up on my phone. So,
cool.
Listen, I don't know if I don't even know if Baltimore would deal him in the conference or to the Jets. Which would be a team that would be, in the grand scheme of things, probably competition for a playoff or a title in the conference. But I don't think anybody's going to sign him, like right now and just have Baltimore. They're not going to do the work for Baltimore and have Baltimore just, have the right of refusal and say, no, thank you. We'll take you for that contract. I think it's something that's, it's going to come to a pass. It's going to come to a line drawn in the sand, and Baltimore is going to say, okay, well, listen, what are our options now? I agree with you that I think Baltimore wants him, and their idea is no matter what, we're not going to let him go. But even that, they might let him go. It might come to a point where Lamar could just say, all right, you know what, I'm not signing the tag. And then what?
Well, then he just doesn't play because no team is going to offer him the fully guaranteed contract, right? The owners have.
I think that's. I don't know about that. I don't think anyone's going to sign him while he's hasn't signed the tag. I don't think anyone's going to go right now and say, okay, Lamar, here's 5 years, 250. Because then they'll probably just scoop in and do it. I think it's something like it's going to be later in the season. It's going to be after the draft where they're going to say, okay, we're not getting anywhere. Lamar's not budging. Baltimore's come to a point they're not going to offer anymore. I think they're going to entertain the idea of Lamar, just kind of initiating a signing trade. I think that's what Atlanta's of the world. I think that's what the the other teams of the world are going to kind of wait for. I think the Jets have, if for some reason this fizzles out with Aaron Rodgers, I think the Jets have to be, kind of, that has to be a conversation.
But at that point, I don't think you can wait that long. Because what happens if it goes to what happens if he goes to Atlanta? What happens if Miami comes in all of a sudden because Tua already has a concussion at that point? Like there's you if the timeline of what you're saying is true, and it makes sense, a lot of what you're saying does make sense in that whole timeline and that whole scheme.
Sure.
If that's the scenario, if that's the case, the Jets can't wait that long. Because you can't do what you did with Derek Carr. Now you lose out and have the same thing happen with Lamar.
Well, I mean, if option C is somebody like Jimmy G, you're correct. If option C is somebody like, a 1-year bridge guy, like Jacoby Brissett's of the world, or I know not him. I'm going to use him as example. Sam Darnold's of the world, like. You could sign one of those guys, wouldn't preclude you from making a deal later in the year for Lamar. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. Listen, not ideal, not what I'm itching for, not what I want, but it's.
I don't want Lamar. Period. I don't like him as a quarterback. Like he's not. I don't think I've seen enough from him to be able to say that you're going to win anything significant with Lamar Jackson. Like, I just don't think that he's a quarterback that's ever going to win you anything. I think his career is going to look fantastic as a regular season quarterback and horrible as a playoff quarterback. And he's maybe got 4 more years in him, and that's it. Kind of a thing. Like, he's going to hit a wall like Cam Newton.
And which is fine. And if the deal is kind of, around that, if it's around that 4-year, right? Because I agree with you. Like, the thing that's going to go first on a quarterback who uses his legs as much as Lamar is his legs, not his arm, right? So the just kind of like when you buy a new car and you take it off the lot, it automatically depreciates, right? Lamar Jackson's legs are going to depreciate a lot faster than Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. So the thing is, right now we're built with this 2 to 3 year window, and I like Aaron Rodgers in this short-term window better than Lamar Jackson, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I'd be unhappy if Lamar Jackson was my quarterback. I'm not.
I can't say that I would be.
That's and that's fine. everyone's got their preference and their choice. I'm not. If that's the pivot and it all works and it doesn't impede us from re-signing Quinnen or extending some of our young nucleus when they come up, then I'm all for it, man.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's get to the chat. I'll read them out so you can hear what they're saying.
I got it on my. I'll pull up my phone.
See on your end if there's like another tab on the top that says Fantasy Island or something on there. If there's anything that says that.
Nope.
Because that's the name of the source.
No, all I got is Tiago and your last name, which I won't say on.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't got it. That's okay.
Jackson in an Atlanta uniform is fire, though. Again, with Arthur Smith and the run game that he runs, that would make some sense. I could see that working. They go get someone to match. Was it Damian Pierce? Is that who they have? No.
Who? Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier. They get him a running mate to be next to Lamar. And the run game that Arthur Smith developed in Tennessee coming over. You might even trade for Derrick Henry. That would make sense if you're Atlanta, because he is up for trade.
No, you're right, but I don't know if Atlanta's in the spot where they can justify trading for a $12, $13 million running back. I mean, they're still well into their rebuild. They need to put assets behind it. But Lamar, they have the caps room to fit Lamar. And listen, this is smoke season, man. You don't know what you hear, but the rumors are they really like Desmond Ridder. And I love Desmond Ridder, the prospect. I didn't care for Desmond Ridder in the short, what I saw of him in the NFL. But we'll see, man. We'll see. And for those who are asking, Jeremy is sick. Jeremy came down with the COVID, so we had to cancel the show tonight. So there will be no tight end talk on the Chaos channel. Well, we will continue in 2 weeks because next week he's traveling and I won't be around next Sunday either. So
fun times.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce is in Houston. Yeah, I got him confused. This is a good topic of conversation. I haven't heard your opinions on this, Dom. I actually have, but the chat hasn't.
Okay.
Commander's Payne contract is going to drive up Quinnen's price. What do you think of the Payne contract, and how do you think it affects the Quinnen contract? I know my opinions, and I think we share the very similar opinion. So I'm going to let you say it so I can eat some Skittles.
I think that the Payne contract is excellent. I think that you're going to see the price of that high-end interior defensive lineman just kind of, little by slowly go up, including with the deal that Quinnen Williams, should be entertaining. So in April, 4 for $90 is going to look like a bargain for him. I think the deal for Quinnen, that's going to be the benchmark. I think it's going to probably fall somewhere north of Payne and still south of Aaron Donald. And I pegged it at, right about, 4 for 100, 4 for 110, something like that, all in. Which includes some incentives. Yeah. So 25,
I agree. I think
25, 26 million, 20. Right around that range. And it's big. It's actually important right now. Like, I'd like to see. Obviously we're all sitting on the seat, on the edge of our seats, waiting for Aaron Rodgers to drop. But a Quinnen contract is important because if it's structured properly, that's going to open up a lot of space for us this year.
Yep. I think ultimately, guys, he's messing. If any Aaron Rodgers news breaks, I will break it. I've got Twitter open on a second monitor. I've got every single person on a notification, so my phone will vibrate. If Ian, Shefty, Tom Pelissero, any of those guys, and gals, because I have some gals and their noties on too. If anybody tweets anything, I will know. I will tell you. I've got Twitter on the second monitor, right? I've got you guys on the third monitor. I've got Dom on the main monitor. I got it. Don't trust the chat. They're not real. They're lying. Okay? Ian hasn't posted his video yet. So it's not real. We all know that Ian's going to be the first one to have the breaking story before even Shefty, right? So, come on. And if you don't know who Ian is, Ian from Jet Central, you should be subscribed to him if you're subscribed to me. Because, yeah, right? So I agree with the Quinnen contract. I think ultimately what the Quinnen deal would have ended up being was probably going to be 110 over 4. Which made a ton of sense. That's kind of where I thought he would be. But I think now that number might lower a little bit because of his brother being here. I'm not saying we're going to go and get him for 100 over 4, and he's going to give up $10 million because his brother is here. But would he entertain 105, 106 over 4? Maybe. And I think that if we can squeeze out any kind of savings from him in that kind of sense, that would make a ton of sense. I think it makes a ton of sense for him to sign that deal because then he hits the market again before he's 30 and he can get another big payday, hopefully with the Jets as well. So that makes sense on that end. And then you add on top of the fact that this is going to be the first New York Jet draft pick who earned a second contract, and that's going to send waves through the locker room, you know what I mean? And I think by keeping your guy around, he's going to be the first round draft pick that we kept that got a second contract with the team. I think all that stuff matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So, zero chance Ian is breaking the Rodgers news. Rob, you don't know, dude. He's got Shefty on speed dial. I swear he does. How quick he gets some of this stuff out. Do we? Oh, this is another great question, Dom.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. Do we bring back Quan now too, or does he want the bag and is not an option anymore? So before we answer that, let's talk about Quincy, because we did sign Quincy. Thank you so much, Agent Cobra, for hitting the subscribe button. I appreciate all you guys. If you want to see the dancing dinosaur, make your subscriptions public. Hit the sub button. It's a great time. Now that we've seen the Quincy Williams contract and how that broke down, what do you think of it? And how does it affect the Quan signing?
All right, so I had just tweeted out this morning, in discussion with a couple people on, on Twitter. I said hot take, not very hot take, very lukewarm take. And this was this morning. Keep in mind, everybody. I said if I had to choose, I would bring back Quan and let Quincy hit free agency. Quincy's sideline to sideline. The big hits that he does deliver every so often. I just think as an overall linebacker, even Quan at 28 years old, still offers much more. He's a much more well-rounded player. I mean, Quincy is just such a liability in the pass game. He can't. He doesn't cover very well. I mean, that's just the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had my druthers, I would have negotiated with Quan, brought him back in, and drafted his replacement, and let it ride. Let it ride with Quan and CJ. Maybe see some more Hampson Nasruddin, some Jamie Sherwood in there. Linebacker is also a position that they could address in free agency. You can take a 1-year flyer on a guy. I never thought that the Bobby Wagners of the world or the Trumaine Edmonds of the world were ever in our ballpark.
I was pipe dreaming Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah. I know. I saw Buffalo had posted something like, love CJ, hate the contract, designate him post June 1. We can free up $18 million and pay half of that for a 24-year-old Tremaine Edmonds. I just don't see that happening.
I don't either.
But the thing with Quan is, back on, let's see, hang on, let's see if I can find it. Back on March 6th, 2 consecutive tweets from Quan. The first one says, "Can't wait to see what's next for me." And the second one says, "Only God knows where I'll be. Wherever it is, it will be the best year yet." Put a stamp on it. And then Mackay tweets to him, "Hope to see you back at One Jets Drive." And he said, "You never know." That was his answer. So to me, he's starting to paint that picture like he's moving on. Now, he hasn't done the whole, I'm going to remove the Jets from all my images, from all my social media. But, I don't think that he'll be back. He came to us at such a low number last year. I think it was $2 million, $2 million and change that we paid for him last year. We're not going to get that same deal. He signed the prove it deal, and I think he proved it. Now, is he worth the long-term 3 years, $18 million that Quincy got? Probably not. But if you gave me the choice, Quan Alexander, 2 years, $9 million with 6 of it guaranteed, or Quincy, 6 years, $18 million with 9 of it guaranteed, I probably still would have leaned Quan. That's just me. But all in all, I don't think the $6 million a year number on Quincy is terrible. I just like I said, I just think that he's for the 3 good plays. For every 3 good plays he has one that's just god awful. That's what I don't like. I just don't like his lack of adaptation, especially in regards to the pass game.
Now, let me ask this, because I agree. I actually would have kept Quincy because I think his developmental trajectory is going up, right? Because if we look at him from year 1 to year 2, he got better.
Yeah.
Now, he still wasn't great, but he got better. And if we follow that same trajectory, going from year 2 to year 3, I think he's still going to get better. He's young enough to where he can get better, and I think the contract is exactly where I want it to be. His contract is what? 3 years, $18 million, can become a maximum of $21 million through incentives. That gives us a $6 million cap hit on a linebacker that knows our system and started in our system for a long time. 2 years now he's been in our system.
And it's only 9 years guaranteed. So
9
my
million
guess,
guaranteed.
9 million, 9 years, 9 million guaranteed. So my guess is that it's, and I don't know how the structure of it is, but I'm going to guess it's 3 and then 6, and then you have an out after year 2.
Yep, I agree. I think that's 100% how the contract is. And so the way that I look at it is there's a couple of ways to have this conversation. One, I think Quan is a Houston Texan. He's already moving to Texas. He's going to go back, meet up with D'Amico Ryans again. It makes a ton of sense. They can pay him a ton of money. It's one of those things to, like, I think it makes a ton of sense. So, boom, there's that. But the other thing is, I knew that both of them weren't going to come back. And my whole thing is, while I think Quan was the better player, there is still the injury concern there, right? Because this was the first year in a while that he played fully healthy, and even then, it was a lot of limited snaps. But I was more willing to make and keep Quinnen happy by keeping his brother around and say maybe Jamian Sherwood can become the Quan Alexander replacement and get those kinds of reps, because I want to see more of Jamian. I want to see more of Hamza if he's ready. Maybe by not getting Quan, this gives us the ability to, draft a linebacker a little bit higher than we expected and see if they can come in. Because technically, you do still technically need 3 linebackers. Even though we run a ton of nickel and we keep Michael Carter and Will Parks out on the field a lot, depending on if it's 3 wide receivers or 2 tight ends or whatever those sets are. Mm-hmm. With all of that happening, there's a lot there in to think about in that sense. And so I didn't think both of them were going to stay. And so if you were going to take a guy, I like Quincy's trajectory. He's been getting better every year, and he can still continue to get better. Yeah. You never stop developing. You should get better every year. The real thing is when your body gives out on you, right? Like CJ is probably the best version of a linebacker that he is right now, but his body just can't keep up with his brain. His brain sees the plays and he just can't get to speed, right? So that's the way that I look at it. And so he's still young enough to where I can say, you know what, 3 years out of him, and then we can move on from him at 29, and we'll have Quinn in for another 3 years at that point.
And like I said, I'm guessing that there's an out after year 2 in that deal. I'm sure it's built that way. But there's also the factor that I think is kind of real, is that bringing Quincy back kind of helps ease the bridge to the new contract for Quinnen. I think there's some viability to that. So I don't know who Jordan Byrd is. I don't. It says I just clicked on him. He says beat writer for the Jets, but he just came out saying expect an Aaron Rodgers trade to be announced later tonight. Reliable sources close to the Jets organization has told us that the deal is done.
Who?
Jordan Byrd, beat writer for the New York Jets, NFL insider, and writer for SSPN. Former Cardinals assistant equipment manager.
Damn it! I'm gonna be live until freaking 6.
I don't know who he is. I'm not banking on him.
Can you click his Twitter? Can you click his blue check mark and tell me if it's Twitter blue or if he's verified? Thank you, Night Stalker, for subscribing.
He is verified.
Oh God, guys, I'm gonna be here till like 3 a.m. Dom's gonna go to sleep because he's not crazy. Eventually, and this is not me kicking you off, Dom. I'm just saying that eventually you will go to sleep because you're not crazy like I am. But oh man, that's crazy. I know, D Jones, I agree with you, but I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna be live for it. Ablab in the house. Quincy's still learning at 27. Yeah, dude. Sometimes some people are late bloomers. Gino only figured out how to play football at 30.
Is he 27? Is he 26?
I think he will be 27 when the season starts. I think he has like like an April or a May birthday.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So
What's the guy's name? I'm gonna throw it up on the screen for everybody. Jordan
yeah, I just lost it. I just came off it. Jordan Bird,
Byrd.
Byrd, I believe.
Oh, this guy.
I like I said, I'm not. I just clicked on him. I don't know who he is. His Twitter handle says that he's a beat writer for the New York Jets, SSPN, whatever that is.
It ain't worth it, guys. Okay, I'll still Dom. You're gonna go away for like half a second so I can show people this. Guys, oh no, wait. There it is. There's the tweet. It's right here. Expect Aaron Rodgers trade to be announced later tonight. Reliable source close to the Jets organization have told SSPN the deal is done. Why would they tell a guy with 51 followers that the deal is done instead of telling, a legitimate source? I don't think it's happening. Well, okay. I'll be live until like probably midnight-ish, talking and hanging out with the 180 of you that are in here. Holy crap.
Yes, that's wonderful, guys.
Thank you so much.
If you haven't subscribed to Tigo, do yourself a favor and do it, man.
Thank you, Dom. Guys, it's
pleasure,
so
dude.
cray Okay, I'm gonna only mention this once, and then if we hit the number, I'll say a little bit about it. But yesterday, Dom, obviously you were maybe hung out or whatever. I was at 1950-ish subscribers, and the stream absolutely went insane and got me over 2K, and that was awesome. It is one day later. We are 20 subscribers away from 2,100. That's insane, guys. I can't begin to appreciate all of the support and everything that you guys are giving it. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the stream out a ton. 71 likes. There's 180 of you guys in here. If you're liking the content, if you like Dom C as much as I do, you should hit the like button and all of that stuff. What's the guy's Twitter? It's like I said, it's Jordan Bird. Jordan spelled exactly how you would think, and then Bird, Byrde. He's been tweeting some stuff, and he has one claim to fame where he was technically the first person, I think, last year to break the Aaron Rodgers going back to the Packers news, but that was all kind of expected. Like, everyone knew that was happening, or at least I knew it was going to happen, so I didn't think it was going to be something crazy. Jamal Adams back on the Jets. Don't think so. He did everything he could to get traded away. I agree. I don't think that's happening.
That's not happening.
Oh, I'm gonna pose this question to you because my water is empty and I'm gonna go refill this because I've got a long night ahead of me. Because I think I already know your answer, and if not, we can talk about it because I know my answer. Mm-hmm. The New York Jets obviously traded for Chuck Clark, a safety, can play both free safety and strong safety, but is very, very, very well known. He's a much better strong safety than free safety. What do you think? One, of the Chuck Clark trade, because I think it's phenomenal. Another fleecing by Joe Douglas. But two, thank you for subscribing, Stephen T. Appreciate you so very, very much. So there's that. But also, how does this affect Whitehead? Because I think this kind of spells doom for Whitehead. If we can find a free safety to come in, Whitehead's gone, I think. But if we can't, then Chuck Clark will play free safety, and then Whitehead will stay on a reduced number. Let the chat know what you think, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, so, I mean, Chuck Clark is still a very, very good player. Unfortunately, it's just a numbers game. That they signed a big-time free agent safety last year in the offseason and drafted Kyle Hamilton, so it was just a numbers game. Why they gave him up for a future seventh, I don't know. Maybe it was just the point that they were getting ready to cut him to free up the space, but Chuck Clark had over 100 tackles. He's a sure tackler. He's the epitome. He's the exact opposite of what Jordan Whitehead was. Jordan Whitehead had, I think, something like a 17 or 18% missed tackle rate, and Chuck Clark's is under 6. So, the fact that Chuck Clark can come in here and be the sure tackler that Jordan Whitehead was doesn't loom too well. I just think that they haven't made that move. I don't know. My true answer is I don't know if they plan to bring both of them in and have a 3-man rotation with Chuck Clark, Jordan Whitehead, and Tony Adams, which is a guy that I really like and I really want to see get some reps at the free safety.
I do too.
Yeah. So, or it could be, they're waiting for this Aaron thing to get done and to find out what pieces that he wants to bring in before they move on
Maybe
from Whitehead.
because maybe
Yeah.
he asks for Amos, right? Like that might.
Well,
that-
Amos is a free agent.
But what I'm saying is like, what if he says, "I would like Amos to be like on the defensive side of the ball. I trust him to help that team." I don't know if that's real, but
no, I think if Aaron Rodgers legitimately, is going to be here and legitimately has requests of guys that he wants, I think they're going to be offensive players.
Yeah,
I think they
I
could.
think so too.
I think they could be, guys that come to mind. Bakhtiari, even though his renegotiation probably takes him out of the equation, I think either or both of Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard. I think Jamal Williams could really, they are extremely close. I think there's feasible reasoning to believe that, that might be one of the guys that Aaron Rodgers suggests comes with him in that package deal. I guess it's more offensive guys than defensive guys. I know Corey Linsley is a name that everyone seems to like. I don't think that that's the route that the Jets will go.
At this point don't think he's going to get cut. I think they're going to keep him. The Chargers.
Yeah. Well, they're in bad shape. So they're financially they're just that team. Unfortunately, can't stay out of their own way. Whether it's just bad coaching or bad financial decisions. They blew they blew their nut on both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen when they probably should have picked either or and give themselves a little bit more flexibility to throw the bag at Justin Herbert. They have a very productive, although aging, Austin Eckler, who they're going to have to look to replace at some point. They still don't have a tight end. They have holes all over the defense. So yeah, San Diego, the LA Chargers are a hot mess. So that's why I thought, Linsley would be somebody that they move on from, but they haven't done it yet. Yeah, there's been some interesting names been bantered about in regards to some interest with the Jets. Obviously, Jamal Williams is one. That's the big one that everyone's talking about. I just heard that Darius Slay's agent put out a list of teams that he'd be willing to play for, with the Jets being one of them. Now, I don't know.
I don't know how we would fit that.
I don't know where the fit would come exactly, but that's a really nice name.
But that's a good thing to be a part of, right? Like, it's not a place that's real. We're not gonna go trade for Slay, but like, this is that's a great little tidbit there. That's that you should take pride in if you're a New York Jets fan, is that players want to be here now. That's a big deal. And so the reason I didn't see that is because I have only people who are verified to show up with my Aaron Rodgers thing, and he's not verified. That's why I didn't see his thing.
He's not.
Yeah.
There's a couple names that have been talked about. Jake Brendel, the center from San Francisco, is a name that supposedly the Jets are interested in. And I think he's, obviously schematically he's a perfect fit for what the Jets want at the pivot at the center position. He's young. He's going to come a lot cheaper than some re-signing Connor McGovern.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess he's not that much younger. I guess they're right around the same age, but drafting a center still is not, not out of the realm of possibilities.
I think my ideal scenario at center, just me personally, would be the Jets go out and sign Ben Jones. For a couple of reasons. One, I really like Ben Jones as a center. According to PFF, he was the 9th ranked center in football last year. but it's also his familiarity with our offensive line coach because he's the former center of the Tennessee Titans. Our offensive line and running game coordinator was the former offensive line coach of the Tennessee Titans. So there's some familiarity there. Ben Jones seems like the guy who would be willing to coach up a young center prospect. So there is that part of the conversation and everything like that as well. So there's a lot of things there where I like that. And so if you're telling me that you can get that happening, I think it'd be very, 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 very cool. I missed these before, but I'll say them now. D Buckets and Joe Pakulik, thank you for hitting the subscribe button, guys. I appreciate you so greatly, so very much. We are 2086, 14 more subs to be over 2100. Come on, there has to be 14 of you out there that's not subscribed.
So Ben Jones is an interesting. I mean, I understand the correlation with our new members of our coaching staff and Dowling and his name is skipping me, the offensive line coach.
Keith Carter.
Keith Carter, yeah. Ben Jones is 34 years old, though. You know, we talk about bridge players. I mean, that's borderline, like past the bridge is, kind of rotted out and about to fall. So, if you told me it was Ben Jones at a very, very team-friendly deal plus, a second or third round rookie, I'm all for it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's Ben Jones to mentor a young rookie. That's the whole idea, is to get the two of them together.
Yeah.
And because I think of all of the guys, all of the centers that are available, like, because I think if you go with another guy that I'm kind of a fan of, which is Ethan Pocic out of Cleveland, I think that's a very lateral move in the sense of like going from McGovern to Pocic. It's a lateral move, and I'm cool with that. But you're getting younger because Pocic is 27. I would be like, you know what? I'm kind of cool with that, but then that's saying we're not going to go the young rookie center. Like, because I don't think you can get Pocic and then also draft, because, I want either the veteran to bring along a rookie, or I want like a relatively long-term answer. And I don't think Pocic is that he can bring along a rookie. And because I like Whippler and like some of these other guys a lot in this draft, like at the center position, and I think they might be something in the future, I'm more willing to take a shot on a guy who's 34, 35, who just came off of an excellent season, with a team that was hurt on the offensive line, and he was arguably kind of the only bright spot there. And so that's how I look at it.
It's funny that you talk about Whippler. Shameless plug. He is the next installment of the Project Prospect videos that I'm putting out on Green Bean's channel. I just did a breakdown on him. He's, an absolute ideal fit for our offense. On top of it, he's a hell of a player, and he's a Jet fan to boot. That always helps.
Oh yeah.
His idol was Nick Mangold.
Whose wasn't, man? I was a quarterback my entire life, and Nick Mangold was my favorite player on that team.
Yeah. So, but if you delve into his tape at all, it's outstanding. He's a little bit light. His play weight's about 300, so that probably means it's probably closer to 290 or something like that. He could use to add some more mass and some functional strength that will help him anchor down really good against the bigger, stronger defensive linemen that will get up on him in bull rush. But there's no one in the class that moves like him. He might be the most fluid interior offensive lineman in the draft. He's definitely the best fit for that wide zone scheme from the interior, even more so than a guy like Schmitz. And I'm not saying Schmitz is not a fit. He is, but Whippler is meant to be the center in the offensive scheme that we run. So
I think Schmitz is a future Cincinnati Bengal. Be willing to bet money there.
Yeah, listen. I think that range is going to be where Schmitz goes. that second Seattle pick, I could see it happening
At
there.
18? No, they're not at
Yeah.
18. That's the Lions are at 18.
That's the Lions. They're in the 20s.
I think
The
they're
early
20. They are
20s.
20. They are
Yeah.
20.
That I think is a good range for Schmitz. But even if he doesn't go there, if you look like that end of the first round, the guys like and remember that Schmitz is a center, but he can easily play guard as well.
Oh yeah.
So you're talking interior lineman. You have Schmidt. You have Seattle at 20. You have the Giants at 23. You have Buffalo, who picks right in that range. You have Cincinnati, like you said. Kansas City could use a left guard. Then in the second round, you deal with Pittsburgh. You deal with the Cardinals. All these teams that
didn't
have
even
needs
think
for
of Pittsburgh.
yeah,
That's
you have
a
all these
great
teams
point.
that have the need for an interior lineman. I think the John Michael Schmidt's train is probably of us getting him in the second round was a
It's a pipe dream.
excuse me was a mock draft spoof.
Yeah.
You know,
It's one of those things like it's funny because we all have guys that we take in the first round that don't end up being first rounders, and then there's all these guys that were like, oh, he might be available in the second that get taken in the first. Like a great example of that is like Elijah Moore was a first rounder in every mock that I saw that year, and we got him in the second. And then like Creed Humphrey was a second round pick every day of the week in every single 2-round mock I ever saw. And Kansas City somehow got him, I think, in the third. Like, it's insane that they were able to get him. Like, so there's a lot of these guys that you look at and that do that. So that's very, very interesting. Let me ask you this, because now that we're starting to see some of the cap shenaniganery and all that stuff happening, and before we get to that, guys, Jared Vowulo and Greg Tarr, thank you for subscribing 3 minutes ago. We are at 2095. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. I love Jets YouTube and Jets Twitter and all these guys. Matt O'Leary is on Twitter having a little bit of a panic attack right now. I find that entertaining. But because of the whole Rodgers situation, 2096, you guys are crazy. What do you think with free agency starting a day from now? Let's just go under the assumption that Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. Just because to make the exercise easier, right?
Okay.
So Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. How does the off-season that you expect us to have affect our draft potential? Like, because a lot of people talk about drafting a safety and drafting a linebacker and drafting a defensive tackle and drafting an offensive tackle and drafting a center, and like those being the needs that we have. What do you think we go for, like, in free agency that'll eliminate that need? I guess is the best way to say it.
So that's a good question, and it's a fair question, because especially in mock draft season where we're hot and heavy now, everyone does mock drafts and just tries to fill all the holes that we have, not taking into account what's going to happen in free agency. I shouldn't say I bet, but if I had my guess, let's talk about the holes that we have right now. I mean, there's a few. Let's call it what it is. Obviously we need to bring in an offensive tackle. Obviously we need to address the center position. If not a starter, with depth. There's you can argue that you need to possibly bring in another wide receiver. You can argue that you need to possibly bring in another linebacker. You can argue that you need to possibly bring another safety. I mean, that's 5 right off the bat. That doesn't address also the defensive tackle, which I think is of paramount importance. So if I had to guess, I think you're going to see some of those. I think safety and defensive tackle will probably be the positions addressed or kind of pushed at in free agency. I mean, I know the banter around Twitter and whatnot. They're talking about centers and so on and so forth. So maybe you bring in a guy and draft a guy later. I think they're gonna probably look to address, if there's going to be a splash. I wouldn't put out the idea of it being a splashy safety, and then bringing in some, 1 year kind of stopgap, fill the whole rotational pieces on the defensive line, and then attacking the rest of it in the draft.
Makes
You gotta also remember, like, you said, in this exercise that Aaron Rodgers on the team, what did it cost to get Aaron Rodgers?
It's a good question.
Are we going to have our second round pick? Are we going to have our third round pick? Are we going to have either of them? Whatever. So that's that all that has to be taken into consideration. I'll say this, that in my humble opinion, it is not the strongest nor the deepest draft class. There's some positions that are deeper than others, running back being one of them, which I find interesting that we're even dabbling around if there's any truth behind it to the Jamal Williams stuff, because this is the year that you can pluck a guy out in the 4th, 5th, 6th round and have him be a viable rotational piece. That's how deep and healthy and robust the running back class is. But defensive lineman, for instance, falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle, it doesn't nearly fall off a cliff that bad, but after, say maybe the top 10 prospects, you're talking about developmental guys. And those top 10 prospects will probably all be off the board in the first 3 rounds. Center's a little bit deeper, but there's, the high end guys aren't going to make it past day 2. So you only have, as of right now, you only have 3 picks in day 1 and day 2, right? We only have 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, which is why I've been an advocate and really believing since the get-go, since months ago, that this is the year that Joe Douglas trades down and really accumulates more capital, because I think the strength of the draft, albeit a little bit weaker top to bottom, the strength of the draft is in that 2nd and 3rd round values. So I could see us. Listen, I'll say this. I'm on board. I'm on board with like just the rest of the Jets fans. Like we need a tackle. And Tigo as well as many of the guys who hear me or follow me, whether it be through Green Beans channel or the show, the prospect show I do on Jets Chaos, that Peter Skoronski is my number 1 tackle in the class. I don't think that he's on the table for Joe Douglas as a tackle. So, just his, what he looks at, the builds of the guys, the measurements of the guys that check all the boxes for Joe Douglas tackles are bigger, longer guys, and that's just not Skoronski. Skoronski's measurements, top to bottom, including his speed and explosive measurements and so on and so forth, mirror Elijah Vera Tucker, and put it this way, Joe Douglas traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker. So he obviously likes that guy, but he likes him on the inside. I don't think that Skoronski is going to really be an option for us at tackle if he's there at 13. I could see us kind of either trading down or pivoting and going a different way. And one of the guys, I'm going to throw this name out to you, Tigo. It's a name that people know, but it's not a name that's been bantered around the Jets too much. Don't sleep on the defensive end. Don't sleep on the defensive end position being viable at 13. If, all the quarterbacks go and those 2 tackles, go, I could see a guy like Tyree Wilson coming in and being, a guy that Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas fall in love with. You don't know what you're getting out of Carl Lawson after this year, right?
Yep.
You don't know what you're getting out of JFM after this year, right? You have JJ. You hope that we have Bryce Huff, but Bryce Huff, as much as we all love him, he's still situational. Tyree Wilson is an excellent player, and if he starts to slip, I could see that a guy like him be somebody that the Jets pounce and draft. They have an affinity. They have an affinity with those defensive linemen, man.
Yeah, of course. We see that historically from Robert Saleh's time in San Francisco. Before we get to that, a couple of subs that came in a couple of minutes ago. Michael DeFino, Austin Ruiz, and Patty Grimes, thank you for hitting the sub button. We're 2 subs away from 2,100, guys. I think a more likely scenario is I look at Paris Johnson Jr. and Peter Skoronski, and I say, okay, there's a Tennessee Titan with Peter Skoronski. He's going to the Titans. And then Paris Johnson Jr. is a Bear.
Yeah.
Easy breezy. That makes too much sense. And so, with both of the tackles gone, with the acquiring of Chuck Clark, I think Brian Branch is kind of off of the table as well. I don't think we're going to draft another box safety.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a little bit more than a box safety, but he's not a true single. You know, he's kind of that. You know, think of like college recruiting. You know, like when they recruit college kids, you know, sometimes they just recruit them as athletes, right?
Yep.
And they don't have specified positions for them, and that's really what Brian Branch is on defense. Like, there's probably a better chance of him being a slot cornerback in the NFL more than he plays single high free safety. Not to say he doesn't have the skill set or athleticism to handle it, but that's just not what he does best. He does best in that overhang. You know, his man coverage is really, really good. I could see him doing that. So to your point, you know, I don't think with Jordan Whitehead still on the roster and Chuck Clark here, I just don't see him taking another safety that's has kind of that similar skill set.
Yep. Before we continue, guys, we're over 2,100. Thank you so much.
Hey.
That's so awesome. You guys are the best. The 100 subscribers in less than 24 hours is absolutely insane. You guys are awesome. I appreciate every single one of you for doing and subscribing and being around and hanging out and doing all of those things. I think a more realistic option, like we were saying, pivoting back to what you were saying about possibly looking at the defensive position, is I think 13 right now is 100% a trade back.
Yeah, but the problem with that, that's what we want, right? If those two just say, hypothetical, just say all three of them. Just say all three of the tackles are off the board. The three main ones, Jones and Johnson and Skoronski.
Yep.
And forget about what I said about my thoughts on Joe Douglas and Skoronski. For this exercise, we'll just say that they're off the board. You know, ideally, as Jets fans, we say, okay, no problem, we'll trade back. The problem is that there's got to be people that want to trade up.
And here's the kicker. Okay. I think this cornerback class, I think you're going to see 3 or 4 edges taken in the top 10, possibly. I think we're going to see 4 quarterbacks.
3 or 4?
Yeah. Like, that's a real thing. Like, you're telling me, okay, maybe not 3 or 4, but like that might be a bit of a stretch. But if you're telling me the 4 quarterbacks are going to go in the top 10, I think we can both agree on that.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, and then
that's 6.
Tyree Wilson, I think are all top 10 picks.
Okay, that's 7.
I think Devin Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez are top 10 picks.
Okay, that's 9.
And then the 3 tackles. Let's say 2 tackles.
But just say 3 tackles for this argument.
Let's just say, okay, for the argument.
12. That's 12.
So what hasn't been taken yet that we know is going to go 14 to the Patriots? Wide receiver.
We don't. If you think, listen, I don't think that wide receiver at 14 is a lock for the Patriots.
If all the tackles are gone, where would they pivot? If Devin Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez are gone,
they can pivot so many different ways.
They could take a corner. They could take Brian Branch.
They could take Brian Branch. They could take a corner. They could take they could take a 4th tackle. Like, Anton Harrison, I think, is reasonably a very, very good player. Maybe one of the most athletic tackles, in the draft class. So to assume that they're just definitely going to take, listen, wide receivers on the board. I'm not saying it's not, but
okay, I don't think there's. They need a wide receiver desperately. What happens if EJ, thank you for hitting the subscribe button, and Shane McGarry, your dancing dinosaur's about to come in. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. What happens, like, you don't need the Patriots to be like that they're going to take a wide receiver. You just need to be able to sell the idea that the Patriots are going to take a wide receiver. And with this wide receiver class being so hot and cold, like a lot of people have Quentin Johnson as their number 1 wide receiver. I don't. I really like Jackson Smith and Ajigba. A lot of people, like, I know this is where we disagree. I know you're really high up on Jordan Addison. I'm not. I look at Jordan Addison more as a bottom of the first, top of the second kind of guy,
Hmm.
not a guaranteed lock first
Well,
round pick.
I think you're hitting the point on the head. Is that that there's so much, the wide receiver position and how people see them is so volatile. Um, Now, and listen, a lot of answers could be had on what happens between now and the draft, between pro days and how free agency pans out. But uh, you know, uh, there's not that one. There's no Jamar Chase in this class. There's no
No,
Jalen Waddle.
no.
There's no Garrett Wilson. There's no Drake Londons. There's you can talk to five different guys and they could have five different number one wide receivers. So there's no dead set number one. Take that out of the equation. Who's trading up? All right, so you the Jets sell that New England's going wide receiver. Who's trading up for a wide receiver?
I think the Chargers could be in a position where they say, yes, we restructured these two guys, but look at how much success the Bengals have had with three insanely good wide receivers. What if we add Jackson Smith and Njigba to the slot between Mike Williams and Keenan Allen? I think that's a very appealing to them as an idea. What happens if the Eagles, they have 2 first-round picks, decide we just signed Jalen Hurts, like we're going to go all in, we're going to get a third wide receiver there because, yes, we've got A.J. Brown, and he's very clearly one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, and we do have Devontae Smith, who's a great number 2. Let's get another guy there. That's a conversation to be had. Seattle might want to come up for a wide receiver because Lockett's getting old to partner with DK, and they just signed Geno. Like, I'm not saying that this wide receiver class is worthy of that. And here's the thing. I don't think the haul that we would get is something massively incredible. Yeah. I think you're looking at a first-round pick this year. Obviously, it's the swap of firsts, a second-round pick, and maybe a fourth-round pick. And you're going to drop 7 or 8 spots.
I think that value it would be ideal in wearing Jets goggles, but there's not one person in this wide receiver class that there. I don't think there's a team that's going to give you that value. A first, a second, and a fourth, that'd be a pipe dream. San Diego has, they historically don't trade up, period. All right. They drafted Josh Palmer, with a day 2 pick just a couple years ago. I don't think that they're ready to sail him out. At least, I'm not saying that they're out of the market at wide receiver wherever they pick in the 18, 19, wherever they pick. I'm not saying that they're going to be out of the wide receiver position. But like I said, we talked about them briefly. I mentioned them. They have so many holes. I just don't think that they can justify. There's not that one guy that's going to really bring them over that hump. Pittsburgh could use a wide receiver maybe.
Yeah,
but they're not going to trade up, and they have
they have 2 seconds.
They have enough holes in the exactly. So this class, they have the first pick of the second round. They can just sit back there and take whatever best wide receiver falls off the board at that point. I don't see them trading up. The difference between, and I'm just using his name as an example, or 2 names. The difference between Jalen Hyatt and Josh Downs as the first pick of the second round is not that much less than them trading up for a Jackson Smith and Jigba or Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison, whichever you have as your wide receiver, whoever your wide receiver 1 is. So I don't think that's going to be in the cards. I just don't see where somebody's trading up. Now, if, the only way I could see somebody really trading up to 13 would be if they, kind of hone in. If Skoronski's still on the board, Joe Douglas says, all right, Skoronski's, not going to be a fit for what we're looking for. He's, I have him pegged inside. I'm not going to spend this pick on inside. I could see somebody trade up for Skoronski. I don't think it would be for Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson because I think Joe Douglas would just pluck them right then and there. So maybe Skoronski, if he somehow slips, maybe, one of Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez, if one of them somehow slips, which I don't think is going to be the case. I just don't see where it happens in this draft. You're not going to trade up for Brian Branch. You're not going to trade, you're not going to trade up for any of the tight ends. You know, I just think that I think that unfortunately the Jets are in a real precarious position if both Jones and Paris Johnson are off the board. I would love them to trade down,
Yeah.
absolutely would. I just don't know who's coming up to trade with them.
Again, I
That's my
think
hang
you
up.
get desperate, right? Because look at what happened last year, right? We all said the same thing last year with this wide receiver class. No one's going to trade up for a wide receiver. Why should we? How many? Green Bean and Ryan were pounding the table. Don't take a wide receiver in the first when we can just get a guy in the second.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Atlanta takes London. We take Wilson. Detroit comes up for the other guy. No, New Orleans comes up for Olave. Detroit comes up for the kid from Alabama. And then all the receivers are gone. You know, and it's one of those things where you just need one. And there are enough teams that need a wide receiver that might look at it and might want to come up.
Yeah,
And then there's other things going in that conversation too, where it's just like, what happens if the 3 tackles are gone? Like Cincinnati might want to come up for an Anton Harrison because let's say they look at it and they say the Patriots, they need to replace Wirfs. We desperately need a tackle. We're in our win now window. F them picks. Like, I'm not saying, obviously, like you said, in an ideal world, trading back is the best scenario. But I think in every draft, there is going to be some team that's going to value somebody in front of X player that's going to be there. And you can go get it. Now, we might not get the value that we ultimately might need. But if you're telling me that, again, in this scenario, we can recover, let's say, that second-round pick that we gave up for Aaron Rodgers or whatever, I'm
that's
cool
ideal.
with doing that. And like, even if it's literally just a first and a second to come up 7 or 8 spots, I'm cool with doing that. And the reason I say that is, like, even if, like, let's say Tyree Wilson was there at 13. I don't know if the gap from Tyree Wilson to, let's say, like a Nolan Smith is that big that, like, maybe you can sell a team on coming up for the crazy athletic freak that is Tyree Wilson to then also say, like, you know what? Nolan Smith is going to be there in the mid-20s. We can also get just an insanely freakish edge. Like, I think this draft is going to be fun because now outside of center, which we have a massive need for, obviously, if we look at every position on this team outside of the interior of the defensive line, but give it a couple of days, we'll see what happens. We might bring back Sheldon Rankins. We might be back Nathan Shepard, or like we might bring these guys back. We don't know. We have no idea. What if Fletcher Cox is ring chasing and wants to take a vet minimum? I don't think that's going to happen, but, you know, we can have a pipe dream. We still have things to happen in free agency. But now if we look at our roster, there isn't one, like, 100%, like, this is the biggest hole. We need to go this at 13 or we're screwed. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I feel really confident in our offensive tackle room. I feel really confident in it. I think the injuries that have been happening with Mekhi Becton were fluke because they were done to him, not because of him. You know what I mean? They're not like, he got rolled up on twice. Like, that sucks. How do you plan for that? Dwayne Brown got the surgery and is recovering and is doing all that stuff. And he's 1 year removed from an Pro Bowl season, you know. And even at 40, yes, last year with one arm, he was not horrible for a guy playing with one arm, you know. Elijah Vera Tucker showed us that he can play both tackles, and that's a worst case scenario. Max Mitchell showed us that he can still, he can play at a relatively good level if we need him. That's 4 tackles right there. And
Elijah Vera Tucker can't be counted on as a tackle. I mean,
why not?
Listen, I'm not a knock on the player. He obviously could do it, okay. But then you have then who's playing right guard?
Nathan Herbig. Nate Herbig.
No, he's not. He's not signed. He's an unrestricted free agent.
Bring him back for 2.5.
Your mouth to God's ears, but that's again, you're putting band-aids on bullet holes. You know, you're doing that shuffle again. And listen, I hear what you're saying about the tackles. You know, I do. You know, I have probably, you know, dumbfounded confidence in Mekhi Becton. He hasn't been able to stay healthy for 2 years, but I still think that this is going to be the year. I've said that for the past 2. And I agree with you on Dwayne Brown. Ideally, Dwayne Brown is a guy who starts the first 6 games and then hands the torch over to a younger guy and becomes the best swing tackle in the league. But again, I'm not ready, or I'm not willing to hang my hat on that makeshift offensive line situation that we just came out of, and we can wax poetic about these guys. The reality is that Dwayne Brown, Mekhi Becton, Max Mitchell, Elijah Vera Tucker, they all missed a significant portion of the year last year. Actually, I shouldn't say Dwayne Brown. Dwayne Brown didn't miss time, but he played hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's pushing 40 years old. So I think it would be naive to say that we don't need to.
I didn't say we don't need to, but I'm not saying it doesn't have to be at 13. Cody Mock in the second or the third. Blake Freeland in the third. That's still addressing the position. And so then you've got 4 tackles if you move Elijah back inside. You know what I mean? But let's say you count Elijah as a tackle. Let's say the plan is that Mekhi is going to win the job at left. Elijah's going to play at right. Lakin is going to stay there at left. We're bringing in Ben Jones to play center, or Ethan, doesn't matter, to play center. Well, then you just pivot. That second or third round pick that was going to be a tackle, you can still be Cody Mock because he played inside at the Senior Bowl at a pretty high level. And you can just go and get him to play on the inside. And we've seen second, third, and fourth round guards come in and have some success. And when you're next to a veteran like a Ben Jones and Elijah Vera Tucker, some of the mistakes that you might have as a rookie guard who might be asked to do a little bit more than what he might be ready for is there, and it's available. And you still have the opportunity where it's like, okay, this guard isn't working. Like, he needs more time to develop. All right, bump Dwayne Brown back up to left tackle, move Mekhi over to the right side, bump Elijah Vera Tucker back inside. Like, we still got Max as a swing in case of injury. I'm cool with Obehi coming back as the fourth tackle, right? Kind of a situation. So it's one of those things where I guess the point I'm trying to make is I think we need an offensive lineman. Yeah. I don't know if we're in a position where, like, we need a tackle or we need a guard. I think Elijah Vera Tucker is your golden ticket, and he allows you to be very, very flexible in what you're drafting, because if you draft a tackle, cool. You play a tackle, Elijah Vera Tucker bumps inside. But if you draft a guard, Elijah Vera Tucker can bump outside, and that's in the assumption that you can't rely on Mekhi Becton. And so
that's where I'm going to disagree with you, and that's fair. But Joe Douglas drafted Elijah Vera Tucker to be a guard. He played tackle because the circumstances that we were dealt. I respect the guy enough, and he had enough ability to say, hey, listen, fuck it, I'll do it, excuse my language. But position that we were in being what it was, we had no other option. I don't think that because he stepped up and showed that he could do it means that Joe Douglas and the offense wants him to do it. I mean, the reality is, he could be a good tackle. Elijah Vera Tucker
can be an all-pro guard.
His ceiling is top 2 in the league as an inside player.
I agree with that, but here's the one caveat that I think a lot of people don't really take a lot of stock in, and that is, what does Elijah want? I think I think he's earned the right, because of what he's done for this team by playing 4 offensive line spots. He's earned the right to be able to say, I would like to compete for the tackle spot. And if you're Elijah and if you're Elijah's agent, you would ask that, because tackles make more money than guards, right? Yeah. And no, I'm not. I just think if he asks that after last year and what he did, I think you got to give him that shot.
Yeah, I don't think. Listen, what you're saying makes sense, but Elijah Vera Tucker is a guard. He's a guard who's good enough to step in and fill holes and play tackle at the next level. Joe Douglas drafted him as a guard. He's not going to all of a sudden kind of just switch on that and say, okay, guess what? You're going to be on the right side. You're gonna be on the right side. Listen, the reality is that there are some liabilities with him at tackle. He's a dominant mover in the run game, right? He has he has that reachability. He works so well in space. But his arms are short. He's stocky. He doesn't set. He doesn't have that pro ready, tackle, kick step, and stuff like that to be relied on the outside time in and time out. Could he fill gaps and step in and play? Absolutely. He showed us that he could do it that year. But I think, because he did it in 2 games last year, depending on him to do it for the rest of his career, I think that's short-sighted. When better fixes put him back in the position that you drafted him to be. Now you're solid up the middle, playing next to a new center, whether it be a veteran or a rookie, and you put your pipeline tackle in place. That's just my opinion. Now, is that pipeline tackle at 13, or is that pipeline tackle, at later in the first round in a trade down, or in the second or third round? That's to be determined. But I just think I think you're going to see a big run on the tackles when we pick in the second round at 40 something. It wouldn't surprise me if the top 3 are off the board, plus Antoine Harrison, plus DeJuan Jones,
plus Darnell Wright, Yeah, and that's my thing is like, I just don't want to be in a position, again, I believe in our offensive line to get 5 of the best guys out there. And I think that the 5 best is ultimately going to end up being Brown on the left, Mekhi on the right, Laken Tomlinson, Elijah Vera Tucker, and insert veteran center here. And I think that's ultimately what we're going to see with our offensive line. And I think that version of that offensive line can be absolutely dominant.
Yeah. And you also got to remember, you got to remember also, Tigo, like, just because they're drafted in the first round doesn't necessarily mean that they have to come in and step in and play.
But I think it does. At 13, if you're taking a guy at 13, like, the thing is if you take a tackle at 13, then you're punting on Mekhi Becton. Because that guy has to start. So then I think Mekhi Becton has to beat Dwayne Brown.
I disagree 1,000%. If you draft a tackle at 13, and I'm just going to say Broderick Jones because
go ahead.
That's his name I'm going to say. I think you're coming into – I think Dwayne Brown is your left tackle. Everyone being healthy and all things equal, I think Dwayne Brown is your left tackle. And I think I think you say, okay, Broderick Jones and Mekhi Becton, you're going to battle out for right tackle. Now, Mekhi Becton could easily win that job.
Yep.
And then you still have Broderick Jones, who's a very, very talented player who you took at 13 that doesn't start year 1. But again, remember, Dwayne Brown's 40 years old. He's not going to be here next year. Mekhi Becton, we're probably looking at his last year. We're not going to
doubt we're taking his 5th year option.
We're not going to take his 5th year option. So you're and again, he hasn't played in 2 years. Again, I have faith in him, but he hasn't played in 2 years. There's no guarantee he's going to get a second contract. So you could easily take a tackle at 13, with the understanding that he might not start, and that's okay. That is okay. You take a tackle at 2, you expect him to come in and be a day 1 starter. You take a tackle at 13, especially in this draft class, like we talked about already, it's not the strongest. You take the top 3 tackles from last year in Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu and Charles Cross. Those top 3 are better than any of the tackles in this class. Oh, yeah. Paris Johnson included. I know a lot of people like Paris Johnson. I think Paris Johnson is a good player. I think he's a great fit in our offensive scheme. I think he's a dominant run blocker.
He's gonna be solid for the Bears.
I question what he can do against the pass. And maybe he develops, and that develops. But like, to get a guy like Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson, or even if it's Skoronski, like I said, I don't think that's going to be a play for the Jets at tackle. But even so, if you take him and he doesn't start, it's still okay. You're taking the best player at a position of need that's going to fill a hole on this team, whether it's this year or in years to come.
I don't like the idea of, in a win now year, taking a player that I don't think can win the starting job. That's my thing. If you're keeping 13 and you're sticking and picking at 13, I think you said it. I don't think any of these tackles are going to beat out a healthy Mekhi Becton. I also don't think any of these tackles are going to beat out a healthy Dwayne Brown. So at that point, for me, I wouldn't take the tackle. Because if you're not going to beat out Mekhi Becton or Dwayne Brown, and in a perfect world, those two guys stay healthy, and that's a big if. And I understand, but for me, if you're taking that guy, he has to, I want an impactful starter. I want a guy who's going to contribute, because if, again, in the situation where we're taking Aaron Rodgers, I want to be in a position where we're in win now mode. We're accumulating, I don't care about the future. I don't care about next year. Next year is next year's problem. What I care about is this year, and that's what I want. I want a player that's going to be impactful this year. At that point, I would pivot. At that point, let's say you can't trade up. Well, we could use a wide receiver 3. Go take the wide receiver. Hell, I'd even be kind of in the situation, and I don't like this pick, and I haven't seen Hawk in the chat, so it's good that he's not going to hear this. I'd even be go just take Bijan Robinson, because those guys are going to be impactful day one in a year that's so important to go and get the Super Bowl. And that's the way that I look at it. And I get the understanding of, and this is why I'm not a general manager, because what you're saying makes a ton of sense. This is why Broderick Jones at 13 makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. I think he has the upside to be the best tackle in the class, but he also, eventually, I don't think day one he'll be the best tackle, but he has that ability, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, eventually,
he's like I say it all the time, on my my prospect pods and so on and so forth. I think both Paris Johnson and Broderick Jones have the ceiling of Trent Williams. They're not. I'm not comping them to Trent Williams, but I think they have that level, that high of a ceiling. And you have a position of need, whether it be a day one starter or not. It's the tackle is still a position of need. If you could guarantee, if the Jets could guarantee that a guy like Anton Harrison or DeJuan Jones or Darnell Wright would be there in the second round, and you wanted to, and the top 2 tackles were off the board, and you wanted to pivot with the understanding, the guarantee that they would be there for you in the second round, you could probably talk me into that. But I don't see us. Unless it's addressed in free agency, I don't see us getting out of the first round, whether it's at 13 or somehow traded down. If somebody for some reason wants to trade up, I don't see us getting out of the first round without a tackle. I just don't see. It just doesn't make sense to me, and that's just me.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Again, it comes back to the pictures and the stuff and the motivation that we're seeing out of Mekhi Becton makes me really believe in what he's going to do. I really like Dwayne Brown, and I just don't look at these rookies as being able to beat them out. And so
look at Jermaine Johnson last year. He was what, pick 26?
Yeah.
Right? What did he play? 30% of the plays, maybe tops.
Yeah.
Right. Sky high talent. Everyone loves Jermaine Johnson when he's on the field. You love what he does. He's a guy that's going to. We expect a bigger second year elevation in his play time and play in his abilities. We drafted him when we had Carl Lawson and JFM and Bryce Huff on the roster already. So we drafted him as the 4th defensive end.
Here's the thing with that, right? And I get what you're saying, but here's I think the difference. We didn't know what Bryce Huff was yet. Right? Because there was a lot of people who believed in Bryce Huff's ability. I think you were on that train. I think Kevin was on that train. I wasn't. I incorrectly called for a Bryce Huff cut. He did not make my final 53. And that was really, really stupid. And so the difference is that last year was a developmental, get better, hopefully see if we break the playoff curse kind of year. The expectation last year wasn't Super Bowl or bust. The expectation this year with Aaron Rodgers under center and coming off of the back of a year of offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and Brees Hall, who should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year if he would have stayed. He would have ran away with it, no pun intended, if he stayed healthy. Kind of a situation. And then you add the fact that yes, we were able to get 3 first-round picks last year, so we were able to get JJ at 26, and we got Bryce Hall or Brees Hall, and we got Sauce, and we've got all of these really exciting pieces, and we finally stayed healthy. When I look at all of those things, the timeline has sped up. We arrived, I think, a year early.
Okay.
And that's where I think I pivot a little bit differently.
Okay,
Am I going to
which
be
is fine, but
pissed off if we take tackle at 13? Absolutely not. It makes sense. What you're saying makes a ton of sense. But I would rather, in my scenario, get an impactful day one starter. Like, that's going to be out there. I'd even be cool, and I know, I love Michael Carter II. But if you look at it and you say Brian Branch is better than Michael Carter II, and we're going to play nickel 98% of the snaps, I'd be cool with taking Brian Branch and playing him in the nickel. Like, kind of just to have by far and away the best trio. And that's how I look at it. I'd rather pivot to a position of need and then get a Blake Freeland, a Cody Mock, or something like that in the 2nd or the 3rd round.
Yeah. Yeah, listen. If the expectation with Aaron Rodgers is Super Bowl or bust, like if the window is that small, I think it would be foolish. And this is again just me. I think it would be foolish to hang that expectation on the back of a 40-year-old Dwayne Brown coming off of a rotator cuff injury, and Mekhi Becton hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah.
And your swing tackle being Max Mitchell, who still has not been cleared to play or practice with the blood clots. So yeah, like that just
you're not wrong.
That doesn't work in my head.
Yeah.
You know, my objective view and my optimism says that it absolutely could work. But, you know, the last thing we want to do is put these pieces in here that we really think could, you know, really push for a playoff spot or a long, you know, a long run in the playoffs, and then fall into the same unfortunate rabbit hole that we fell in last year. You know, Joe Douglas, I thought, did everything right last year except address, you know, having a backup plan at the offensive tackle. You know?
I think he did. He had a backup plan, right? Like, the expectation that we were going to lose George Fant and Mekhi Becton.
Fant, no. I'm going to stop you there. There was no expectation that we were going to lose George Fant. George Fant was never healthy coming into the season. The expectation was that Mekhi Becton was going to come back healthy. Now, freak accident, yes. You know, unrelated to his other injury, yes. But you had George Fant, who was not healthy coming into the season. He did not practice. He had knee surgery. He didn't go through camp, you know, or went through camp sparingly, was, you know, out for however many games right from the get-go. So he was not an option. You know, the Max Mitchell pick, the 4th round, he was not drafted to play. Now, he again, circumstance being what they were, he stepped in and at times looked, you know, very serviceable, you know. But the knock on Max Mitchell was athletic as hell, but he needed some time to get some functional strength in him. He needed to spend a year or 2 in the weight room, really develop before he could be that swing tackle. Now, he was forced into it, and, you know, he did a job. So I don't think, and again, I'm not saying, I'm not a Joe Douglas hater at all. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that if there was one fatal flaw in the way that he constructed the team, is that there was no thought to that tackle position. That he put all his chips in on Mekhi Becton.
I think deservingly so. It made a ton of sense to do so. But I think where we disagree, and again, this might be biased because you can't see it, but if you pull up the stream, one of my emotes is a picture of one of my favorite players on the New York Jets. If you become a member, you can drop the Max Mitchell love as an emote. But I looked at Max Mitchell as a backup.
Somebody in the chat said Barney Miller. He signed Brown before Becton went down.
No, he didn't. It was the other way around.
Yeah, he did not.
Yeah. Brown was signed 2 or
Brown
3
was
days.
probably one of the first calls. No, he wasn't signed 2 or 3 days after. He was one of the first calls when he went down. If you remember, that strung out for a little bit.
Oh yeah, because he came to visit for the green and white game.
Yeah, exactly.
That stayed for like a week or two.
Yeah, so he was one of the first calls.
Yeah.
But then you have to go into the Cedric Aboye scrap heaps and guys like that. And I just don't think that Joe Douglas is willing to dip his toe in that toxic pond. So again, if you can assure me that one of the top 5 tackles would be there for us in the second round, and you wanted to pivot and go somewhere else in 13, I'm fine with it. But I don't think you can. I just don't think you can address that, or assure that. Listen, it might even be the fact that if the 3 tackles are off the board, that he takes tackle 4 at 13.
Yeah, just take Anton Harrison, Darnell Wright, whoever you have as your tackle 4. I think it's Anton. I would.
I think Anton Harrison is, he's up there for me. I think Joe Douglas is going to be more infatuated with the length of DeJuan Jones, personally.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Dom, this is not me kicking you off. I'm just saying, if you do want to hop off, feel free at any time. I know it's getting late. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep the stream going. This is not me. If you want to hang out, we can hang out. I love having you on. This isn't me, like I said, trying to kick you off. I'm just trying to let you know that you don't have to feel obligated to stay. Let's pivot back to what the show's kind of supposed to be about, right? We're on Aaron Rodgers watch. We're waiting for some news. What's your feeling? What are you feeling? Harrison is getting off for the night, and he put up a good question here. Before the stream ends, last minute thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers trade, predictions. Where are you at this point? You think it's gonna happen? Not gonna happen?
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. I think we're gonna hear something before the free agency starts tomorrow at noon. I think we're gonna wake up or maybe it'll push right up against noon, but I think that the framework is already there. I think they already know what Aaron Rodgers. Listen, it's one of 2 things. They already know that it's going to happen. I don't know, and if they already know it's going to happen, I don't know why it hasn't come out or why it hasn't been made official, or they already know it's not going to happen and they're keeping everything as quiet as could be to kind of not throw Jets fans into a frenzy. So. But if I was betting man, I'd say by 11:30 tomorrow morning, Aaron Rodgers will be a Jet, and we'll know what the package is that it costs to get him.
I'm very curious. I think the biggest thing that I'm at right now. Let me see this. Oh crap. I can't see this image, MC Clean. If you have a Twitter, DM this to me, and I will look at the image that you are referencing. I think it might be the whole Facebook thing where the guy was talking about the trade can't happen until the 17th. If that's the case, my DMs are open. I'm not even going to ask you to follow me. If you do follow me, that'd be great, but you don't have to. If you could DM this to me, I'll pull it up on the screen, and we'll talk about the whole thing, and we'll go over it. We got a cap expert in the house. I'm kidding. We got I think we got 2 people who are moderately cap savvy. Is that the best way to say it? Because I don't think I'm an expert. Because the cap is the most confusing thing on the planet. Would you consider yourself an expert, Dom?
No.
Yeah,
no,
me neither.
Not in the least.
It's at Jets with Tigo. It is in the description. I think the thing I'm most interested in when it comes to this whole Aaron thing is I'm just going to go under the assumption that it's happening because I want to be happy in life when it comes to that. Dom, are you there? Hello? I think you've frozen. Real frozen. That was weird. It's very, very glitchy, and you're still frozen. Internet's kicking up a bit. He'll be coming back. I'll have that open. I think the thing that most interests me with the whole... I got a bottle of champagne, buddy. I'm going to go pop that bottle. I'm going to freak out. So here's what's going to happen. Okay, guys? You're going to get, I've got an alarm on my phone. I am not turning off my computer. I am going to beat Ian to the news. So I will be the first YouTuber with a Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets video. It's happening. 100%. It's going to be me. I can guarantee it. If he's not, maybe I cry a little bit and then the video, I might not be first. But I will be the first. And then I'm going to upload another. I'm beating Ian Wildwave. Trust me. I got this. I'm going to beat him. And so you're going to get that video first. I'm going to beat him. Every video I make is a race to beat Ian. I've got my workflow down. It's streamlined. You know when the bikers and with the helmets? I got it. Even if Schefter calls Ian, I've hacked into Ian's phone. Ian lives an hour from me. I'll go cut his internet right now. Okay? I'm gonna beat Ian. Hashtag beat Ian. It sounds so bad, but that's gonna be the thing. I race Ian for every breaking news story. That's my goal, is to just be the first one, because Ian is so fast. I might have to reach out to him and see if I can make a hashtag beat Ian from Jet Central, just because I find that hilarious, and I would buy that shirt, and I might make that shirt. That's hilarious to me. So I'm gonna be the first one, but after that. Where are you again in Florida, Nalty? You're South Florida, right? I'm Orlando. I think he's like in like that like Pompano area, in that hashtag, like right above Miami. So like he's like an hour or two away from me. Oh wait, I moved. No. Yeah, so you're down by Tampa. You're to the left. Yeah, he's in like that Pompano area, I think that's where he's at. I know he's above Miami, that South Florida area. I think. I shouldn't be just outing him and telling people where he lives. I'm in Central Florida. But that being said, when I look at the whole situation, I'm going to get the video out just to get it out quickly so that everyone can see it. Then what's going to happen is I'm going to have my wife record my actual video of me freaking out. I'm going to go outside, pop the bottle of champagne, pour it all over me, and just absolutely go insane. What am I thinking of then? Damn, now you got me looking at Google Maps. Give me a sec, guys. I got to figure out this. You know what? You guys can come on this adventure with me. He's got me going on an adventure now. Still waiting on Dom. Let me know in the chat. You can see this, right? Yeah, okay. Let's go to Google Maps. Scroll out so you can't find out where I live. What am I thinking of? What's over here? St. Petersburg. You live in Port St. Lucie. You're over here. You're over... There you are. Yeah, I think he lives close to you. Yeah, he's like right here. I think he's in this area. Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie. Pompano's all the way down here. Damn, I didn't think Pompano was that far down. I could have swore. I think he's somewhere in that Port St. Lucie, West Palm Beach area. Hey, you're in Central Florida too? That's awesome, Rick. Is it Rick or is it Rich? We had to go find out where Ian lived. Hey, I gotta hide it, dude. I got 2 kids now. Well, not now, right? My wife is pregnant with the second one. So yeah, then you'll get me popping bottles of the champagne, probably shaking my 9-month-old and crying tears of joy, all of that stuff, if it happens, and then it'll happen on a different thing. This is a great. You think it happens tonight? So we got a guy who tweeted that it might happen. Tonight. My wife is going to be home tomorrow, so I have no option. I have no. Oh, okay, MC. I know what you're talking about. I'll get to it in a second. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll pull it up actually, because I think I know what tweet you're talking about, or the image that you're talking about. Is it the New York Jets fan page? The amazing how the media loves to string us along. Is it that thing? MC Lean, let me know if that's what you're talking about, where it's like a paragraph. Yeah, okay. I'll pull it up. I'll talk about it. Give me a little bit. Give me a couple of seconds. I'll get to it. I got you. Okay, cool. So he is a relatively interesting source. I've seen him before. I don't trust him at all. But I've got nothing to do tonight. So I'm going to do it. I used to live on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep when I was in the Navy. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to hang out. We'll be here at least until midnight. And then we'll see how lively the chat is. We'll see how lively things are going. And if that changes, then we'll pivot. Phil, damn, we got a bunch of Jets fans in Florida. He's on the Space Coast. Me and my wife were talking about going to the Space Coast. Rick without a K, that's it. That's dope. Dude was a bum. I don't disagree with you. It's happening tomorrow before noon, probably. Navy veteran too, Rick. What were you? 83 to 89? That's dope. What were you? I was a corpsman. I never saw or touched a ship in my entire pivot. I never saw a ship in my entire career. Oh, for sure. I would love to. I don't like going to the Miami games because I just don't like going to the Miami games because I'm not a fan of going to the Miami games. But I would love to do like a Talking Jets with Tigo meetup at a Jacksonville game or at a Tampa Bay game. I think that would be a really, really cool thing to do. There you go. Operation specialists. I have no idea what that job is. Again, most of my time I spent with Marines. I was greenside. I was doc for a long time. That's cool. Thank you for your service, Rick. But I would love to do that. Let's. I promised. I would talk about this thing. So let me be good on my word. Let's pull this up here. Give me 6 seconds. Don't know if Dom is coming back. Make sure you guys can see it. Yep. Cool. Amazing how the media loves to string us along. It's a done deal, folks. They're waiting until March 17th to make it official. Rodgers has a clause in his contract that says his 2023 option bonus of $58.3 million cannot be exercised until March 17th. If the trade is done prior, Jets have to clear at least $59.54 million in cap space to account for Rodgers' entire 2023 pay until they can exercise the option bonus and prorate it for cap purposes on the 17th. Obviously, having to clear that much cap space, even if only for 5 or 6 days, would totally screw up free agency, which begins Monday, March 13th at noon. EST, legal tampering period. Once they exercise the options, $58.3 million gets prorated over 4 years, which is $14.65 million. That plus his 2023 salary of $1.15 million gets you to the cap hit of $15.8. But again, not until the 17th. If the Jets go nuts this weekend announcing a bunch of cuts / more restructure / extensions, then they're doing that to make the trade official earlier. Otherwise, it's not happening till the 17th. Okay, so a lot of stuff to talk about here, and there's a lot of things to dissect. You guys are going to be tripped out a little bit with the screenception. Here's the other thing that I will say. It is about to get really, really bright. Okay? I warned you. NFL over the cap does not have a dark mode. This is on you guys. I warned you. And then let's go Packers. So here's where he is misunderstanding how it works. You see this number right here? He is absolutely correct. His guaranteed salary this year is $60 million. It's a bonus. It is an option bonus that he is going to get paid out. If the team chooses to pay it out, he is absolutely correct. We have to pay $60 million right up front. He's going to get that $60 million. Here's where he's incorrect, is the cap number. The cap number this year for the Green Bay Packers is $31 million. There is no this thing where it's going to be a problem or anything. He is a $31 million cap hit. The reason that they can't, why we can make the trade earlier and why he's incorrect about the salary cap is this. When we trade for him, this bonus, other bonus money, has already been paid to him. And this number plus this number is what the salary that's for us actually means. That's why he's going to be a $16 million cap hit until the 17th, right? Once the 17th hit, we're going to take that option because it'll spread this out over the next 4 years, which he is absolutely correct. Now, why would the Jets do that? Well, one, by spreading this number over the next 4 years, it lowers his cap hit in 2024 to $30 million and then puts that 2025, 2026 contracts as about 20 to 30-ish. I think it's $28 million of dead cap. And that's how it works. So he was technically correct that there is an option bonus on the 17th. He was incorrect on how the option bonus actually works. He got the numbers and he tried to sound intelligent and he did the thing that he tried to do, right? Guys, I don't think Dom is coming back. That's cool. Good night, Dom. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. That being said, so exactly, MC Lean, you're absolutely right. There are no repercussions to signing him now. There are no negative repercussions for them trading him now. They can do whatever us and the Packers can do whatever we want. The one thing that both teams cannot have is Rodgers wanting to retire. That's it. That's it. He can't want to retire. And, yeah, that's it. That's the only problem. Because if he retires, then he's really trying to screw over the Packers, and he's really trying to fuck over the Jets. Pardon my French. I try to keep this show family friendly, but it is also midnight. If your child is up, but East Coast exists, right? So that's the thing. And so, yeah. Well, if Rodgers retire, I haven't looked into that one, Kev Chad. Why am I not highlighting things anymore? How does the money change if Rodgers retires next year? I'm not sure. I don't actually have that information because the retiring numbers are a little bit iffy. And for me to be able to see that, I need to know what his contract would look like for the Jets if we have it. I would need to see those numbers because then I could tell you. Because everything changes. The dead cap hit changes. The salaries everything changes once he's traded because of how it works. So because of all of that, you can't really predict it. And this is why I say no one's a salary cap expert. Because okay, you can predict it. There is a formula. I don't know what that formula is. I don't know how to be able to look at the numbers and say, if we trade for him, this is what we're going to get in future years. This is how it works out. What I do know is that if we trade for Aaron Rodgers and then take the option on the 17th, he's going to be a $15.8 million cap hit this year. Next year, he will be a $32 million cap hit. And then in the back 2 years, which are kind of void years, but they're not. Technically, they're real years. They're not considered void years, the 2025 and 2026 years, but they're built to kind of be void years, would either be a $60 million dead cap hit in 2025, or you can split that number up and get 2 years of a $30 million dead cap hit. in 2025 and in 2026. I believe that's how that would work if we trade for him and then give him and take the option on the 17th, spreading the money out across the 4 years instead of trying to take the massive chunk on the front year. And that's how that works. I hope you're a little bit less confused, but you're probably still confused because the salary cap is the salary cap. Right? Thank you, Rob V. I appreciate that. If he plays and has a good season, he will probably play 2 years. Here's the thing. And our good Harrison, actually, I'm going to ask you a favor, Harrison. For real. 100%. Being dead. See, are you in Wisconsin? Answer that, actually, if you're still in here. Are you in Wisconsin? I'm going to ask you that question, then I'm going to ask you for a favor. Harrison, our very good Packers fan who's still here, and I love this dude. He's fantastic. One of the things that like he mentioned is like he enjoys Aaron Rodgers, and I forgot where this was going because now he said yes. So you are in Wisconsin? Dope. Here's what I'm going to ask of you, okay? I am trying to accumulate I want to have a jersey because I'm going to be a Jets channel, but I want to build up my I want to build up my audience to be more than just Jets fans. So I want to start spreading out and doing other content for other teams. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is I want to acquire jerseys for every team in the NFL. I've got Jets jerseys, obviously. I've got a Patrick Mahomes jersey. So I want to accumulate jerseys. And I find that the easiest way to get those jerseys is if you know someone in the area that the team plays. If you go to like a Goodwill, you'll find a jersey. You'll find it there. And so here's what I'm going to say, Harrison. If you ever find like a Rodgers 12 jersey, and I doubt you'll find one, but like if you find a Rodgers 12 jersey, a Favre 4, like any time of the all-time, like the big name, not like, I don't want an Alan Lazard jersey, but if you find anything like that, will you DM me on Twitter? I will send you the money, like straight up. Like I'll pay for shit. I'll pay for everything. If you can send me a jersey, I'll pay for the jersey. I'll pay for shipping. I need everything. Okay? I'm being serious here. I want to get a Commanders jersey because the Commies jerseys are freaking sick. So I'm being serious. I'll send you the money. Whatever. You're the best. See? Freaking the best. Yeah. Why don't you just order one then? Because here's the thing. If I have to order one, I'm going to have to get like a new one. Right? And and those are going to be expensive. It's like $120, $130, $140. Like if I was as big as, let's say, Buffalo Jet Fan or Jets Talk 24/7 or Jet Central, and YouTube was a bigger income driver, I make $1 a day from doing these videos. Like, just to put it into perspective, right? And I don't do this for the money. I do this because I enjoy talking football. But I make $1 a day off of YouTube. And that's if I upload 2 videos a day and have a live stream on Friday. If I don't have 2 videos a day, it's like 50 cents. So again, that would take a long time for me to get all those jerseys. So I go to the thrift shops all the time to see if I can find a jersey and all of those things and all of that stuff. And when it comes to buying expensive jerseys, I would much rather it be like, I'm going to get an Aaron Rodgers 12 jersey when it comes out. Like, that's going to happen. So that's why I don't order one. Rob V, I'm broke. I am a stay-at-home dad. I am unemployed, and I'm a full-time student. Dude, I ain't got no money to go out there and buy jerseys. Tigo, I have a bunch of jerseys I'll send you, bro. Nah, you don't got to do that. I appreciate you, though. If I find one, for real. I love you, man. Ask Jake Asman for that Jersey Connect. I know his Jersey Connect. I've reached out to them. They left me on red. Do you believe that? I'm also not as big as Jake Asman, so I get it. There was a question up here that I missed. I got to find it. Barney Miller, Tigo, you going to go all night? I'm going to go until my mouth starts hurting. Remember that. I am still like in the recovery section of my wisdom teeth removal. So I'm gonna, like I said, I've got for sure another 15 minutes in me, and then once that hits, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Whew, 118 of you guys in here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. 115 likes, 125 of you guys in here. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are the best. All right. Might as well stay up till Rodgers is a Jet, right? Here's the thing, right? When Rodgers becomes a Jet, I'm going to need energy to have to do all of the Aaron Rodgers is a Jet stuff, right? And I have a 9-month-old. So trying to keep up with him is insane. And exactly, I have to hashtag beat Ian. Man, I have to make, let me write it down. I'm going to make a hashtag beat Ian graphic. I'm going to reach out to him. Oh my gosh. MC Lean, you're the best. So let's say Rodgers, thank you for this so much. I can't, this is not, again, I don't do it for the super chats or anything like that. I do it because I genuinely just want to hang out with you guys, and you guys are the best. All of this stuff is so greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, MC Lean. So let's say Rodgers takes another day or two to sign. Is Joe Douglas telling all of his targets tomorrow he's coming? I just hope Rodgers doesn't screw us. The first 2 days of free agency is so important. So this is actually a great question. So technically speaking, if Aaron Rodgers is not a Jet, Joe Douglas cannot promise a single free agent that he is going to be a Jet. That is misleading, and that is misleading. And so what happens is, like, if you say, hey, he's going to be a Jet, and then he decides that he's going to go back to the Packers, then the players will have a right to void the contract with the team. And then the NFL, like, it's a whole thing. You can't lie to players. Like, you can't promise the players, hey, you know what? We're going to make sure that you get blowjobs at the end of every practice, and then, like, first day of practice come, and then they don't get a blowy. Like, you lied to the player to get them to sign with your team. That's against the rule. Can't do that. So, there you go. Explosive diarrhea. I stopped drinking a few years ago. So if we get Rodgers, I got to find a way to celebrate. I don't drink very often. Last night I had a beer because we hit 2,000 subscribers, which was awesome. And that was, I think, my first beer in like 6 or 7 months. I don't drink. But if we get Aaron Rodgers, I am absolutely just going to run around my neighborhood in my underwear, pouring champagne over me, and then upload it to YouTube. I probably won't do it in my underwear so that I don't get demonetized and, like, become like a porn channel on YouTube, because that's not the goal. But I will do something crazy. Tiga, you better hit me off with some of the YouTube money for the rights of hashtag beat Ian. I got you, dude. I got to trim my palm trees tomorrow while checking my phone every 10 minutes. Love it. You guys hear that voice crack? I'm 27 and my voice still cracks. Can you believe that? 27? 28? I don't remember. If Rodgers doesn't sign with us, do a voodoo spell on him on air. Kev. That's actually brilliant. Brother, take a break, relax, shalom. Hey, I'm chill, man. I had a great day today. Took my son to spend the day with the grandparents, my mom and my dad at their house. We did a little barbecue, had a little pool day, hung out, watched some How I Met Your Mother, watched some Bluey, his favorite show. And yeah, I had a great day. Outside of Aaron Rodgers not signing, yeah, I'm chill, man. I'm just high energy. That's what I am. I saw Tigo driving a Lambo with a license plate that read YouTube. See, John, I wouldn't drive a Lambo. I'm a GTR guy. If I'm going to spend $250,000 on a car, I'm going to go get a GTR. That's my feel. In the GTR blue. That's it. But I'm more of a classic car. You know what I mean? I'm like classics in the sense of like your more traditional high-end society cars that aren't like, I want a Porsche 911. You know what I mean? I want old school American muscle. That's what I got. I'm really into like pseudo race cars. You know what I mean? Like I drive a WRX, and I love that thing. I love my WRX. My next car that I'm gonna get is going to be like, we're probably gonna have to get a truck for like just being in Florida and like we're building our house and doing all that stuff. But like, so my next car is probably gonna be an F-150. But like my next like me car, like just for me to have, is gonna be a Porsche 911. That's just what I love those. I am going to own a Charger. I love the Chargers. So like, again, I'm more of like a classic like American muscle, old school. Like give me like Japanese like tuned up, German tuned up. Like I'm really into like, get me the German Porsche with the Japanese tuning that they did and all of that stuff. I'd be so happy. I love that stuff. I won't do that. I'm not a fan of that stuff. You do you, dude, but I'm not one of those. I wish Rodgers still had the flow. Yeah, he cut his hair. I loved the flow. I'm growing out mine. It's not working. Got wild. I got. This is Kevin hair. Have you seen Kevin without a hat on? Oh, for you guys who don't know who Kevin is, that's a Buffalo Jet fan. You seen Buffalo Jet fan without a hat on? He's got some tall hair, man. His hair goes up. I need a haircut. Jimmy Neutron hair. There we go. We'll do a little bit without the hat on. Bluey. My son loves that. I thought today was going to be the day. GB 515, I thought so too. Oh, in Florida? Yep, I am. My kids love Bluey. Dude, mine's 9 months and he loves it. The GTR is nice. They finally freaking updated it. Oh, did they? I haven't seen the updated version. Oh, they did. Wow. Ooh. Ooh, I wish I had money. Guys, I need you to help me go viral on YouTube so that I can buy nice cars. I'll buy each one of you one too. Tigor, are we panicking if Rodgers isn't trade announced by 12 p.m. tomorrow? Okay, I'm never going to say that we're going to be in a mode of panic, right? Because I don't think you panic. But you for sure, if by 12 o'clock tomorrow he's not a Jet, I'm going to go under the assumption that he's just not going to be a Jet. And he's going to be back in Green Bay. And then I would get ready for the Jacoby Brissett signing announcement. Like that to me, or like the Jimmy G signing announcement. And I'm not the biggest Jimmy G fan. But like that would be my expectation, is that we pivot. 69 Camaros are fire. Love it. Woody should book Rodgers on his private jet, have Gordon Ramsay cook his favorite meal, and pay Cardi B to give Rodgers a lap dance to come to the Jets. So we found out that's not Woody's private jet. That's just a service that he uses. I got caught on that. So I bought a convertible vet when we moved to Florida. Had to. Love it. I was at the Packers game Christmas Eve when Darnold went toe-to-toe with A-Rod. My buddy was dogging Crosby all game and turned around and flipped off my buddy when they won in OT. Love it. That's hilarious. Where do you buy your Jet stuff? Jay Long, thank you so much for subscribing. Me? Where do I buy my Jet stuff? I don't. I tell my parents and my wife and people that I know to buy me Jet stuff, and then they get me Jet stuff. But if you're going to buy jerseys, Jersey Flock, I believe is what they are. Give me a second. Yeah, Jersey Flock. They do great work. I got my sauce jersey from them. They were the only place that had the white sauce jersey, and I really wanted a white sauce jersey. Their stuff is great. Buffalo does have some tall hair. I'm telling you, man, it's tall. I talked to a guy that has a Hellcat souped up, and he says the Teslas blow muscle cars away. I was surprised. They can. You can really get a Tesla freaking flying. You really can get them, like, really, really going. But, yeah. Did he really just announce he's staying? He didn't. So, nice try, Frog. You can buy the base Tesla and you're flying. Yep, you can. It's a troll. It's a troll. Don't worry, Frog. There's a reason you're not in timeout, because you're not one of those trolls. But it's not. It hasn't happened. There's nothing happening. Get your Jet stuff on Jamaica Ave. Where Jets is spelled wrong. It's a 3 instead of an E. Kmart used to have some good Jets clothes, but they went out of business. Yes. So I used to live in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, in a town called Kearney. Some of you may know where that is. Some of you may not know where that is. And there used to be in Kearney a hill, a massive hill. And on the top of the hill was a football field. And at that football field was an organization called the Generals. And that's where I started playing football. And I started as a fullback. Let that sink in. 8-year-old Tiga was a fullback. And then in practice, well, I was a fullback and a linebacker. In practice, I gave the coach's son a concussion. And he didn't want to play football anymore. And so then, as punishment, I was told to play quarterback. And I enjoyed it, and I stayed. And then I got bumped up because I outgrew to the next level, and that was awesome. And then the story is written there. But next to that field, on the other side of the road, was a Kmart and a Modell's. I don't even know if they still exist. Modell's, the sports goods stores? I think they still exist. And we used to get all my little Jet stuff from that Modell's or that Kmart. I miss Kmart, man. My vet got smoked by a Tesla on 995. Yeah, man. My WRX, I got smoked by a Tesla. And I haven't done anything to my WRX yet, but yeah. What if Rodgers doesn't become a Jet? Get ready for Jacoby Brissett season. I had a guy on Long Island that got awesome Jets and Giants jerseys mega cheap. I saw a comment. I want to find it. I got a legit White Sauce jersey for $60. Yeah, I got mine for $60 from Jersey Flock. It was phenomenal. Got it for my birthday. My girlfriend has a Tesla. You have to depress the gas and accelerate / acceleration pedal all the time like a go-kart. Yep. I heard some Zach Wilson jerseys are on sale. I've got mine. It's in the closet. I've got mine in the closet. Oh, okay. Here's some breaking news. Aaron Rodgers was spotted at the Knicks game. In LA. But he was at the Knicks game. Or is it still happening? No, it's over. He was there. Per some guy I've never heard who has... No, he's got 110K followers. ESPN, MSG. Apparently this is a dude, Alan Hahn. He was at the Knicks game. Now he's just playing with us. Oh, why would you go to a Knicks game? He's coming to New York, right? He has to come to New York. Modell's is still around. That's good to hear. What do you think about the Quincy Williams signing? I love it. I wanted to keep Quan over Quincy, but I think we went with Quincy so that we could keep Quinn happy and keep their brothers there. And I think Quincy can still be developing, right? I know he's a little bit older. He's 26, going to be 27 when the season starts. But some players take longer to develop than others, and I think he's still solid. I still think we need another linebacker, but now it's not as desperate of a need. This dude is killing us. I know, right? I don't think that March 17th option holdup is a real thing, but if it is, don't you think a trade would/could/should get announced beforehand? They could wait to make it official. Stern riffs, you are absolutely correct. First of all, the March 17th thing is not true in the sense of how that guy worded it. It's absolutely incorrect, but March 17th is a real thing, but not for the trade. Alan Hahn is legit. Oh, got multiple people. There you go. Alan Hahn is legit. I don't know the score. I just looked up to see that if it was done or not. And it is midnight. Deion Henley would be a great linebacker in the draft. Jalen Rose, I don't disagree with you, but I know this is an unpopular opinion. But I'm going to put it out there. I will put this out there. I hope that the Jets draft safety J.L. Skinner with the intention of converting him to linebacker. That's me. That's what I would do. That's what I would want. I think he has all of the skills to be a really, really good linebacker. And so, yeah, that's what I would do for the linebacker position. I know I'm crazy. Imagine, oh, we need a center. We draft a center. Hey, look at that. We're converting him to linebacker. What the heck? But that's what I would do. No chance Allen is faking newsing us. I don't think so. After Rodgers' next big need is center, what free agent centers do you like? I like Ben Jones. I like Ben Jones a lot. I know he's going to be 34 when the season starts, and I know that that's really old, but I would love to be like, let's get Ben Jones on like a 2-year deal. Then let's go out and trade out of 13 to the top of the so that we get late into the first, and then get another second-round pick. And then in the second or the third, depending on where that pick is, you draft a Luke Weipler to sit behind Ben Jones. And then you evaluate Whippler, and then you see, you know what? Is he making the progression? If he is, you can cut Ben Jones after year 1 and move on to Whippler. If not, Ben Jones plays his both years, and in year 3, Whippler can start. By that point, he wouldn't have accrued enough time. He'll be an RFA, so you can second round or first round tender him, depending on how good you think he's going to be. And that's the plan that I would go. If you want just like a long-term answer in free agency at the center position, I like the guy Ethan Pocic. Ugh. Orlando Sentinel, I hate you. I hate you with a fiery passion. They just tweeted something, and they're a legitimate organization, but it's like, Aaron Rodgers has a decision to make soon. I would go Ethan Pocic of the Cleveland Browns. That's more of a lateral move from McGovern to Pocic. They're about the same level, but Pocic is 27, so you can give Pocic like a 5-year deal and still have him here for a relatively long time and kind of kick the can down the road of saying we're going to draft a center, and you kind of eliminate that need. Those are the two guys that I'm kind of in on. If Corey Linsley, Harlan makes the point here, if Linsley gets cut, which I don't think is going to happen, but if he gets cut, I would love to maybe go after him. Him and Rodgers are familiar. He's still an insanely good prospect. That's what I would go. J.L. Skinner is unreal, man. Yeah, I think so too. Imagine him as a linebacker. 12 hours until LT. In the words of the Jets' great QB, stay tuned. Yep. Oh, LT, legal tampering. Duh, I'm an idiot. Scary to think Rodgers has the power to break every Jets fan heart right now. Oh, I know. I agree with you. This better be announced before legal tampering. We need to tell free agents who our QB is. 100%. Rodgers has a decision to make soon, you think? Well, I agree. I like a vet center with rookie center to learn for a year. Rodgers needs a smart, experienced center. I agree, and that's why I would love Ben Jones. Ben Jones answers all of that all of the things that you need. Yeah. I agree. 100%. Didn't he spend some time on the injury list? I think so. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. Nick Broker, great late round project for us. Let me look him up. Nick Broker. Guard out of Ole Miss. I have not seen him. 6'5", 315. He is a... What is he? Is he a senior? Don't know much about him, so I have to take your word on it. Whew. It's 9 p.m. in LA. He just left the game. Possible can make a decision if he was out with the reps. If not, he'll do the I'll sleep on it thing. Yep. This is the thing. This is the problem. It is only 9 where Rodgers is. It can still definitely happen tonight. Oh, I would love for us to pick up Jake Brendel in free agency. That's another really good option. Brendel, here's the thing. I think the market for Brendel is pretty aggressive. And he might want to follow D'Amico to Houston. That makes a lot of sense. I know that the Jets are interested in Brendel, and he's a great option too. So you're not wrong here, Fulham Jets. I forgot about Brendel. I forgot that I thought he was going to ultimately end up staying, and he didn't. It's a great point there. We're going to find out at 3 a.m. I told my wife, I'm not sleeping in the bed with her tonight. We have a guest room, and I'm going to sleep in the guest room because I'm going to have my phone on vibrate, on loud, so that if any notification comes in, guys, say it with me. What do we got to do when this Aaron Rodgers comes out? We got to hashtag, beat, and there's a delay, so I'll wait. What about a rookie O-lineman with no front teeth? Can he be the rookie O-lineman with no front teeth? I don't know who that is. Kev, his picks were hilarious. Who is that? Do you know who it is? It's a center? Is it Joe Tipman? Hashtag, there it is. There it is. There's the hashtag beat Ian's. It's not Joe Tipman. He's got his teeth. Is it Juice Scruggs? What a name. What a name. Nope, Juice has got all of his teeth. It's not Jake Andrews. Is it Ricky Stromberg? It's not Stromberg. He's got all of his teeth. All right, I'm done looking. If you guys find it, I'll pull him up on stream. Is it Cody Mock? Oh, I think it's Cody Mock. I think that's who you're talking about. I think Cody Mock is missing his two front teeth. Yeah, it's Cody Mock, right? There he is. I love this dude. Yeah, his name is Cody Mock. I love Cody Mock. He's more of a guard tackle than a guard center prospect in my eyes. But that's actually a really good option. I really, really like Cody Mock because he has a ton of versatility. At the Senior Bowl, he played every position on the offensive line. Here's the problem with Cody Mock is that he played every position on the Senior Bowl, not at a super high level, right? He's definitely a project. But I would love Cody Mock. North Dakota State is producing some really good players in recent years, and Cody Mock is the next player to be on that thing. Servassier Dennis, linebacker from Pitt. He's a great late-round pick, the developmental late-round pick. Love him as an idea as well. Ryan Kelly from the Colts is a possible free agent. That is too. That is an option. Again, we have more than enough average-ish centers that we can go get. So I'm not worried about center. So, that's one of the positions I know we'll find something in. Cody Mock, yep, has no front teeth. Is Alan New? Nope, I think it's true. Lifetime Jets fan, your channel just popped up on my feed. Glad it did. Subscribe. Thank you, Abysmal. I love you. I appreciate you. The day 3 pick for sure. Bobby Hahn is definitely not a troll. Yep, nope, I don't think so. Why? People shouldn't be allowed to be named Rodgers. I don't even know this guy. Why? Who is Rodgers? Oh, never mind. Never mind. This guy's kind of important in Kenya. Well, still, be considerate. Your name is Rodgers, and I'm looking for Aaron Rodgers news. Gosh. I appreciate you guys. Guys, what are we thinking? What are we doing? How are we feeling? Got 111 of you in here. It's insane. Ugh. Something flew up my nose. Jesus, that was weird. You guys want to do a mock draft? Do like a dumb, quick mock draft? You guys down? Let me know in the chat. I did not catch any of the thing. I agree with you, Phil. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna put. Oh no. Oh crap. Ah, I broke it. I'm gonna put that. Give me a second. Okay, guys, brace your eyes. It's gonna get bright. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. Boom. Let's do a full 7-round mock draft with the Jets. Let me see if I can. All right, let's see if this works. If I can still see all the things. Maybe save your guys' eyes. You guys can't see it yet. What? Why isn't it working? There it is. Boom. Okay. Hey, you're all good, Dom. It happens. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out, man. I'm going to do a little bit of a mock draft. I'm going to hang out. Alrighty. Still got Twitter open. Fantastic. I can see you guys here. Fantastic. Breaking news, nothing at all. All right, we're going to do a 7-round mock draft with the New York Jets. We're going to trade 43 to the Green Bay Packers for Aaron Rodgers. And a 4th-round pick. Force this trade. And we're going to start the draft. All right, so you guys can see a little bit better. Let's see who was taken above us. So Bryce Young. Bryce Young went number 1 overall. C.J. Stroud number 2. Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Tyree Wilson, Jalen Carter, Will Levis, Devin Witherspoon, Peter Skoronski, Christian Gonzalez, Paris Johnson Jr., and Miles Murphy. We are at 13. Here are the players that are still available at 13. Quentin Johnson and Jackson Smith-Njigba are still on the board. Kalijah Cansey, who I think at the next level is going to probably have to bump outside because I don't know if he has the length to be an interior defensive guy. A guy I'm really high on, Lucas Van Ness, is still here. And there are 7 teams that are interested in trading up with us. The guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to turn it back on. I'm sorry for your eyes. I'm sorry. 7 teams that want to trade with us. The New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cardinals, and the Broncos. They all want to trade with us. Of these teams that are here, do we want to trade with any of them? I'm feeling the Dallas Cowboys pick here. Carter was taken. Carter was taken by the Carter was taken by the Detroit Lions. Who we thinking? Where are we thinking? What do we want to do? Broderick Jones is here, but this would be a little bit of a reach, in my opinion, for Broderick Jones. Maybe we drop back to 25, 26, and we can take Broderick Jones. What are we feeling here? I gave up a second. I gave up a second and a 4th, so we don't have a 2nd-round pick right now. I would like to accumulate that 2nd-round pick back. We trade with the Cowboys? Okay, let's call the Cowboys. Cowboys, you're going to give us 26. We're going to give you 13. I want 58. And they're saying they'll give us their 3rd and their 4th. Let's get an extra 4th and a 3rd next year. What do we think of this trade? Should I break the system and go with the super unrealistic trade of a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th? Or should I just take the 3rd next year? What are we thinking? I'm thinking this trade package right here looks good. I think no 2024 picks. Take the 90. Think about this year only. That makes a good sense. That makes good sense. Next year's going to be good. That's what I'm saying. I think the next year third or next year second might make a ton of sense. Instead of getting instead of getting the four, this is a 55% chance of taking it. I think you have to look at this year and next year when you're doing things like this. Let's see if they take this draft. Let's see if they take this offer. They accept it. Beautiful. So we resume the draft. Let's see what happens. Broderick Jones was taken. I saw that happen. So they came up to get their wide receiver. Told you, Dom. Somebody would do it. Guys, if you're wondering why I keep looking, because this is where the chat is. So I want to see what you guys are saying. So that was good. Broderick Jones went to the Steelers. Makes a ton of sense. Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, boom, boom, boom. We're at 26. We accumulated an extra pick, and Anton Harrison is here. I think you take Anton Harrison, right? Look, Phil, I would love to take John Michael Schmitz here. I don't think he's on thin ice, MC Lean. That's the thing. I think everybody thinks that this coaching staff and this general manager is on thin ice. I disagree. I think he's good. I think he's here for at least another year. I agree Nolan Smith was a beast at the combine, but is edge the need? I think you got to take Anton Harrison here. Fits our scheme very, very well. I think he's a great prospect. Anton is the most underrated player in the draft. I'm going to take Anton here. I like that pick. Boom. Let's see what happens in the draft. We're back at 58. And here we go. Look who's right here. Luke Whippler. Let's make the Jet fan a Jet. I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even going to give you guys the option. We're bringing a Jets fan home. We're taking Luke Whippler in the second to sit behind Ben Jones. We're at 74. Okay, here we are. What direction do we want to go? I'm feeling Jamie Robinson. I'm feeling some Jamie Robinson here. I love me Jamie Robinson. This gives us the ability to step away from Jordan Whitehead. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Nick Herbig here. I think he can play as a linebacker in the next level at the NFL level. I like that. That's really it. We could reach a little bit and get a DeMarvion Overshown. What are we thinking? I'm not the biggest battle guy. If we're taking a safety here, I'm taking Jamie Robinson, the FSU. You guys like battle over Jamie? I think Jamie's better. I don't think so, Kev. I don't think we're going to invest assets in the safety. What wide receivers are available? Tank Dell is still on the board. See, Dom agrees with me. Jamie, if we're taking a safety, I'm taking Jamie. Tank Dell is still on the board here. A.T. Perry is on the board here. Tyler Scott is on the board here. Parker Washington. And that's it. Tank or Jamie Robinson. Jamie, battle. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of safety. I'm not a battle guy. I'm taking Jamie. We're addressing the safety. I agree, but I don't disagree with you, Kev. But, I don't necessarily want to trust a 30-year-old Jimmy Ward at safety without having, I like Tony Adams a lot. I'm with Dom on this. Love me some Tony Adams. And, so, yeah. I'm gonna take Jamie Robinson, the safety. I think he's better than Jordan Battle every day of the week. Voice crack. Alrighty. We're at 112. Let's see what's out here. Trevarius Hodges Tomlinson, Dwayne McBride, Dorian Williams out of Tulane, Schoonmaker out of Michigan, Jaden Reed, Ivan Pace Jr. is here. That'd be interesting. Colby Wooden, Ronnie Hickman, Keandre Coburn. This is where I'm leaning, if I'm being honest. I'm leaning Keandre Coburn here, and then his teammate Rashawn Johnson on the next pick, if I'm picking. Cam Jones, linebacker out of Indiana. That's interesting. Andrew Voorhees is on the board. Okay, guys, I got to ask you this question. This changes everything. Do you think Andrew Voorhees is available at 129? You cannot sleep on Andrew Voorhees. Andrew Voorhees here in the 4th round is going to be a starting guard next year. Not this year like the ones coming up, but the year after. Invest in the future. We have one more year of Laken Tomlinson. There is no Texas linebacker. DeMarvion Overshown already got taken. DeMarvion Overshown. Let me go find him. He's up here. Got taken already. He went to Miami. Oh, man. I know he has a torn ACL, Dom, but, I'm taking, not this year. He's not going to play this year. He's going to get a redshirt year. Talk about the year after. You don't think that's worth it in the 4th? I think he's good enough to take Elijah Vera Tucker's job so that when Elijah Vera Tucker takes Laken Tomlinson's job. Is that not worth the pick? Oh. I also hear the Moro Ojomo, the interior defensive lineman pick here. We need it. 6'3", 281. It's a little light. You would take Dorian here and not think twice? All right, what are you guys thinking? We taking the O-line? We taking the linebacker here? Because I agree. I think Dorian Williams is a solid pick here. But I love me some Voorhees. Have a good night, Phil. A lot of people saying take Dorian, D. Williams. I'll see you around tomorrow, hopefully. Great hanging out. Thank you for stopping by. Linebacker. All right. Okay, if Voorhees is there at 129, I'm not even asking you guys. I'm taking him. He got taken, didn't he? God! Oh. Dang, that sucks. Well, that happened. That sucks. I really wanted him to come here. I'm also a big Andrei Yoshivas guy. I like him a lot as a developmental guy. Oh, that sucked. I'm looking at Keandre Coburn here. That's kind of the only guy here that I'm kind of interested in. What are we thinking? Interior D-line? We thinking that? Kuntz? Who's Kuntz? Zach Kuntz, the tight end out of Old Dominion? We already have 4 tight ends on the roster. We need another one? I don't think we need another one. We just restructured the other 2 guys. We're not going to be able to get out from under their contracts. Ojomo? Guys like Ojomo more? Dom, what do you think of Ojomo? If you're still in here. I like Coburn over Ojomo. But you tell me, what do you think? Let's say we're going to take the D line, and then we're going to do that. I'm thinking Coburn. I'm thinking Coburn here. I like Coburn. Slasher / 3-tech. So we taking Ojomo here then? We taking Mojo Jojo? That's really mean to say that. I'm going to take Ojomo. You guys seem to be all in on the Ojomo. We're at 144. Alrighty. I'm going to say something. You guys are going to be a little bit mad at me. I think this is sneakily a running back pick. Never mind. We'll see, MC Lean, how things are going. Because I might hop off after this because I'm tired and my mouth hurts. My mouth is starting to kill me. Is this? Not seeing anything I'm super in love with here. Not seeing anything I'm super in love with here. Juice Scruggs, all-time name list. What are we thinking here, guys? What position? We got 2 more picks. Big wide receiver? There aren't any big wide receivers. 6'3", 224. Bryce Ford Wheaton. Jalen still on the Dion Henley. You got a scouting report for me, Dom? What do we think here? This is a massive overreach for a guy like a Ronnie Bell, who I kind of like. What do we think of a Bryce Ford Wheaton? Wanya Morris, right tackle. We could get it later. Wheaton is a Metcalf clone? All you had to tell me. Boom. We're getting Wheaton. Love it. We got our wide receiver. Got one more pick. Pick 206 in the 6th round. Punter Ethan Evans. We cool with this? I think I know this guy. Punter. Wheaton is a Metcalf clone. Ooh, love it. Crushed the combine. I love it even more. Oh, can we take the log snapper out of UCF? I go to UCF right now. No, I'm kidding. I love me some Thomas Hennessy. I'm kidding. We're not taking a punter. I don't know what to do here, guys. Who do we want? Tell me, who do we want? Dale. Who's Dale? DJ Dale, another interior defensive lineman. Jadakis? Where'd you see Jadakis? Ooh, Servassier Dennis is here. Can get another linebacker. Remember, we're losing Marcel Harris as well. I'm cool with this pick. I'm cool with this pick, with the Servassier Dennis. Oh, there's Jadakis. Jadakis Bonds. We already took an O-line. You want another O-line? All right, if we're going O-line, we're going interior of the offensive line. Who do we want? An ideal situation, what? We taking Stromberg here? No, because we took Whippler. Guys, we took Anton Harrison and Whippler. Another offensive lineman? Nah, we're not taking an offensive line. Right now, it's between Servassier Dennis and Jadakis Bonds. Who are we taking, guys? I'm gonna let you guys pick. I'm gonna figure this out. Give me a sec. I'm actually gonna. You guys are gonna. Oops. You guys are gonna see some inception here. All right. Eric Gray. All right. Alrighty. Who are we taking? Are we going to take Servassier Dennis? Are we going to take Jadakis Bonds? Let's go see if Dom's guy is still here. Gray is not on the board, Dom. Oh, Eric Gray right there. I'm an idiot. Eric Gray, spelled with an A, not an E. Boom. Let's ask the chat. Alrighty, chat. Alrighty, chat. Let's see what you're doing. Let's see what the poll. Alrighty. I'm cool with it. It's a pick in the sixth. What are we gonna do? Servassier Dennis, Eric Gray. Dennis is winning. We need someone to take the top off of the defense. We have 3 guys on our team who can do that at a high level. Margalit. Elijah Moore is a speed demon. Garrett Wilson is a speed demon. And Denzel Mims is a speed demon. Right now, with 7 votes, come on, guys, there are like 100. No, let me update this. There are 80 of you in here. Should have more than 8 votes. Come on, get in here, make your votes. Get your votes in. Jadakis Bonds with his first vote, tying up Eric Gray and Dennis. Come on. There's 80 of you in here. Eric Gray takes the lead with 12 votes. All right, let's try to get 20 votes. 14 votes in. $14, 15 votes, 5 more votes, guys, and then we'll end it, and then we'll end the stream. Let me know what are you guys thinking? Eric Gray leading the way with 16 votes, 14 more votes. Get it in. What are we thinking? Boys, girls. my gals, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Eric Gray storming off 2 more votes. Then we're going to end the poll. I'm going to give it 10 more seconds. Oh my gosh. Servassier Dennis might catch up. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're going to end the poll there. Any last minute votes going to try to sneak in? Nope. Eric Gray is the pick. Let's see how we did in the draft. Let's see what it's looking like. See what PFF thinks of our draft. Anton Harrison, A-. The grade for the trade, A-. Luke Whippler, C. Jamie Robinson, C+. Dorian Williams, B-. Moro Ojomo, B-. Bryce Ford Wheaton, D+, and Eric Gray, A+. Dom giving us the only A+ pick in the draft. We got an A- overall. What do you guys think? Let me know your grades in the comments section. Let me know. What do we think of this? Let me know. What are we thinking of that draft? What grade are we giving me? B-, but great job by you. Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate it. Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, all of the in-betweens, everything. B from Marguerite. Awesome. Love it. Oh, she took it back. Never mind. A for Aaron. Love it, D. Jones. Hank G with the B. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Guys, there are 80 of you in here. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to hit the sub button. We're at 2,113 votes. Subs. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, we're at 129 likes. If we can get one more like, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. We'd love to be at over 130. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me over these last 3.5 hours. Damn, it's been 3.5 hours. You guys are crazy. Thanks for making life and all of this stuff and being a Jets fan fun and letting me have a channel. Guys, tomorrow we're going to know whether Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet, and you already know that we're going to hashtag beat Ian to get the news out. You know it's going to happen. Thank you, Rob V, for that one. Sauce Gardner is also up tweeting with Jalen Ramsey. That's insane. The news is going to drop at 3 a.m. If it does, I'll be the first one live. I'm going to beat Ian. I'm telling you, I'm not even going to turn off my computer. The stuff's going to stay on. And if I come on and my glasses are off and whatever, you'll see I'll beat Ian. I'm going to do it. I'll make it happen. Alrighty, guys, thanks for hanging out all night. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for hitting the like button. If you want to get involved with the channel in different ways, in the description, there's a bunch of different ways to do that. If you want to join the Talking Jets with Tigo Navy, which is the membership of the channel, I am working on building up a bunch of cool new things. We're going to do a giveaway at 25 members. We're going to do... Stay tuned. Next Friday, we do a live stream on this channel every Friday at 10 o'clock. We have some guests. We just hang out. We talk. We're going to do our free agent wrap-up on Friday. It's going to be a great time. We're going to do a giveaway for getting 2,000 subscribers on that Friday. I'm going to be giving away a T-shirt and an Elijah Moore rookie card, and I'll mail that out to you. Absolutely phenomenal. But we're also going to come up with a bunch of cool new ways for you guys to get involved with the channel, with more voting. I'm working on it. Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7 is helping me out with a lot of that stuff to really build up the production value of this stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with me all night. Thank you so much for helping me get over 2,100 subscribers. I can't believe that we did that. It was a great time. I'll see you guys around. Don't forget to beat Ian. And last but not least, go